Discord. I guess we're gonna do another day of crime documentaries, I guess, you know. I guess. Since we never watched the crime documentaries, you know, we might as well just try out a couple. Yeah. I got so sidetracked just now. Live. Stan, what's good, brother? Stan, I think we're peaking. I think my life is peaking right now, Stan. I'm gonna be honest. I think we're peaking. Nah, actually, I'm not peaking because I'm only like still at like 100 subs. But like my life, I feel like I'm peaking. You know what I'm saying? Let me message the old Discord. Same, bro. My life's pretty good right now. Once it's going 3 weeks, gonna be even better. Why you got a lot of stuff going on, dude? I'm not gonna lie. Like I've been trying to play Marvel, but like I even played a little bit yesterday for the first time in a while. But yeah, I just got too much going on right now. I might be sipping on some hard Mountain Dew, guys. I had to try this hard Mountain Dew that I've been hearing about. Seems pretty good. Going to cruise the Bahamas in 3 weeks? Oh! That sounds pretty fun. I'm gonna let everybody hop in here so we can get his documentary going. Dude, honestly, yesterday was an L. It was a good stream to miss. We got clickbaited twice by crime docs, so it better not be happening today. The titles were absolutely atrocious. They did not add up to what the video actually was, you know? Fell asleep super early. Yeah, today we're looking at like a 8:30 to like a 11:30, 11. See how it goes? 11:30. 2.5, 3 hour stream. We're gonna looking to keep the 5 days streams going on. Dude, my hair kind of looks whack today. You kind of miss it. Dude, I'm peeling really bad. You can't really see it. You can see like a circle right there. Yeah, look at that dead skin I can just peel off myself. Do you see that? Ew. I just got a leg cramp. Dude, I hit legs today at the gym, dude. I think I really dude, I blame Robert at the gym, but God, my legs be hurting. Dude, it is pretty satisfying peeling off your own skin. Alright, well. Stan, it might just be me and you, bro. Let's cuddle up. This is called When Teen Killers Realize a Little Girl Tricked Them. Now, I better not get clickbaited right here. Oh, Abby's here too? All right, bet. We got a little cuddle session going, you know what I'm saying? This better not be clickbait, all right? I got clickbaited yesterday, I feel like. So this better be a good one. I want some good characters in this one. Let's get it going, though.
I'll be perfectly honest, I wanted to kill someone for a long time.
Whoa!
Like an urge, and it was kind of a time that I could get it out.
You are that sick fuck.
Steve was pretty much excited. It definitely wasn't his first time. It was like, yeah, it's awesome. You'll get used to it, Chris. It gets addicting, but we'll take care of it.
When an inconceivably brutal crime rocks the small town of Mount Vernon, New Hampshire, police and residents
See if
alike
Starcher's
are
gonna hop in the
desperate to
Discord
stop
tonight.
the monsters before they
I
can
want you guys to
strike
get used
again.
to having Starcher on
But
stream.
as the hunting
I like
case
having him in the
begins to
Discord.
unravel, they soon realize that no one could have prevented the truly evil acts that were about to be set in motion. As it would turn out, a group known as the Disciples of Destruction would stop at nothing
Disciples
to
of
make their
Destruction?
twisted dreams of violence.
Wait, are these all the same people? Oh, they're all different? They all have shaved heads. They all look really creepy, honestly.
Horror, and gore a sick reality. And yet,
Oh, wait, you put
not
videos in Discord?
everything went according to their plan.
Oh, wait.
The killer soon learned.
Where? Did I miss him? All videos for stream? W. Bro, how did I miss that one? The mass killer who murdered 8 for a My Little Pony character? What? That's actually a banger. That might. How long is that one? Do you know? I'm just gonna pull it up real quick.
Marion County 911.
Oh, that's only 20 minutes. Bet we're watching that right after this one. W. All right.
That one of their victims was actually still alive.
I'm one of those type of gentlemanly chivalry sort of guys that you don't even hit girls, let alone go out and treat them badly. If the girl's in the hospital, obviously she probably got injured or something.
Chris,
So,
it's funny you should mention that because I want to let you know she is going to survive. Fortunately.
that's good.
Yeah, that is real good.
Home to around 2,000 people, Mount Vernon is most notable for its quaint and quiet reputation. With little to no crime, it was never expected that the tranquil town would be the setting of one of the most shocking murder cases that the nation has ever seen. Among the community lived the Cates family, including 42-year-old Kimberly, her husband David, and their daughter.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm getting blown up right now.
Jamie. They
I'm locked
resided
in now.
among a beautiful
Maybe.
neighborhood located on
Kinda
Troll
popular,
Road,
guys, I'm
where
sorry.
the growing forestry made for
I have
a
like
peaceful
3
stretch of
people
land.
texting me.
Kimberly was a
It's only 3
pediatric
people that ever
nurse
text me.
and David was an engineer. But the most fulfilling job that the two shared was being parents to the bright and outgoing Jamie. They were a happy family, but sadly, they could not have foreseen the horrors that were in their near future. It wasn't uncommon for David to travel on occasional business trips, leaving Kimberly and Jamie at home, but he'd installed an alarm system inside of the house that would contact the local authorities in the unlikely event of an emergency. And to further their peace of mind, Kimberly had also made
Dude,
an
I wash the
agreement
dishes
with
in my
one of
hands.
their-
My hands just smell like washed dishes, you know? You ever guys know this feeling? Like when you just wash dishes? Kind of smells nasty, but like, I don't know, it's kind of like
neighbors,
just meh.
promising to keep an eye on each other's property. Although, due to the town's low crime rate, the idea that residents of Trow Road could be targeted victims of crime was never considered. Before David left for his trip on Saturday, October 3rd, 2009, the house's alarm system had unexpectedly malfunctioned, rendering it inoperable. Despite this, the family remained unconcerned. But as David walked out that door for yet another work trip, he couldn't have ever imagined that the world he knew was about to be tragically ripped away from him. It was another typical weekend for the mother-daughter duo, where they made plans to shop at their local mall the next day and possibly stop by Jamie's karate
Dude, if any of you guys are 21, this hard Mountain Dew stuff is actually pretty good.
studio. At least, that's what Kimberly had messaged to David before she and Jamie went to bed around 8:30. Jamie would often sleep in her parents' bedroom while David was gone, and this weekend was no different. From the hotel in Maryland, David messaged his family a good night. Around 4 in the morning on October 4th, 2009, a chilling 911 call was made to a local dispatcher. The voice was that of a little girl, soft and quiet and very hard to hear. But what the dispatcher could make out was the whimpering cries of a terrified child begging for help.
Yikes.
Unable to gain a clear understanding of what the little girl had been saying, a police officer was immediately sent to the address of 4 Trow Road. Upon arrival, the officer briefly searched the exterior of the home while waiting for the other squadrons to show. Before he was able to make a full circle of the property, he noticed a slight movement out of the corner of his eye, coming from inside of the house. Inching closer to the home, he peered through a kitchen window, where he located a vague image. Someone appeared to be hiding behind the counter. Locking eyes with the petrified little girl, the officer was overcome with a wave of horror at what was before him. The girl was lying on the floor. Her entire body coated in blood, and a portion of her foot had been severed.
Yikes!
Someone had maimed the vulnerable child.
Jesus!
Breaking down the front door, the officer finally gained entry inside, where he found the little girl, shaking and paralyzed by fear.
Dude!
Horrifyingly, she was attempting to scream and yell. However, nothing was coming out. When she could finally speak, she quickly gave her name, Jamie. The officer immediately carried Jamie outside, where he asked if any other people were in the house. She responded by saying that only her mother was in the bedroom. However, in a heartbreaking plea, she begged him not to leave her side. The officer comforted the young
this
girl,
is sad!
stating that he needed to search the residence for anyone who may be hurt, and promised that she was safe. Just outside, another officer made their way to the petrified Jamie, where they could see that not only had her foot been severed, but she had suffered multiple lacerations to her head, legs, arms, and torso. When asked how she received the injuries, she responded by saying, "Some guy had a knife and another one had a bat and he hit my mom."
Dude!
Horrified, the officer asked if Jamie
traumatizing.
had any idea of who the perpetrators were. And although she couldn't identify any of her attackers, she recalled that one had been bald. However, she also told the authorities
one was bald.
One of them said, "Get the
news break. They're all bald.
jewelry."
Every single one of them.
She then told the police that she survived by pretending that she was dead.
They're in the naked ball rat.
Soon, additional help had arrived, and it was then that they discovered all of the appalling contents waiting within the home. Authorities were able to follow the blood-stained footprints across the hallway carpet that led all the way back to the master bedroom. What they found upon entry could only be described as a chamber of horror. Not a single member of law enforcement could fathom the massive amounts of blood that had encompassed almost every inch of the room. And then they found something even more disturbing. The officers could barely stomach the absolute atrocity that was before them. Lying on the blood-soaked bed was Jamie's mother, Kimberly, who had been savagely murdered. Severely wounded Jamie was immediately rushed to the hospital, but there was no telling whether she would survive. Following the sickening discovery, the authorities were left with a mountain of questions.
Bro, why would somebody do this?
They needed to uncover who had unleashed such an evil attack upon a mother and her child.
That's crazy.
In an attempt to establish the motive, they began to search the house, and they discovered that various items of jewelry had been taken.
They did it for money?
In addition,
bro, don't tell me they did it for money.
The basement window had been broken into, with the screen laying neatly on the ground. Along with this, the air conditioning unit that had been placed in a window above the deck was missing. Yet another potential entry point to the home. South of the residence, tire tracks could be seen along the dirt pathway, and foot imprints were located within the front yard. As word of the brutal attack spread, the tight-knit community was plagued with fear. But what became even more frightening was the haunting whispers making their way to Mount Vernon from the nearby town of Brookline, only 20 minutes away. Apparently, a resident had been visiting a friend's house on Sunday, October 4th, and was introduced to a pair of young men, also from Brookline. Initially, the gathering seemed to be a harmless occasion, but that would quickly take a dark.
Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm letting Jack sleep in our crate for a second. Alright.
Dark and unexpected turn. Within a short amount of time, The new friends had divulged a sick and twisted secret.
Oh, what I
They
missed?
claimed that they and was introduced to a pair of young men, also from Brookline. Initially, the gathering seemed to be a harmless occasion, but that would quickly take a dark and unexpected turn. Within a short amount of time, the new friends had divulged a sick and twisted secret. They claimed that they had just killed a mother and her child, while another set of friends watched.
Dude,
The
how
other
can
patrons
people
sat
do
in
this
disbelief
stuff?
as they listened to what
I don't
they thought
believe
had been
it.
a scare tactic from the two, or a cruel joke. But as you'll come to find out, the truth behind this harrowing case would only emerge after a series of horrific findings. It's possible that the high of committing the crime had worn off, so the assailants were attempting to relive the attack and experience that rush again by describing it to friends. They likely enjoyed the attention and shock from the others and were potentially confident that there was no evidence linking them to the crime, suggesting that they may have believed that they were smarter than police.
Oh, they think they're smart
However,
guys,
they weren't
eh?
smart enough as authorities caught wind of the chilling rumors and were in a mad dash to track down the mysterious young men. They would turn out to be 19-year-old Christopher Gribble
19
and
years old, bro.
17-year-old Stephen
Ain't
Spader.
no way,
One
17?
day after the horrific crime, they were each brought in for
Where are
questioning.
these men's parents?
It was rather odd that Christopher, of all people, had been asked to talk with the police, considering his background. A longtime Eagle Scout, Christopher was a proud member of the Mormon Church and was working towards his
You think this guy looks like me, huh? Is his name Steve?
goal of becoming a
This
missionary.
guy's a disgrace to
He'd been
Steve.
homeschooled
We
from
don't
an
claim
early
him.
age, where his parents worked tirelessly to instill the proper values. This had also coincided with Christopher's time in the Boy Scouts, where he'd given back to his community, supposedly building a shed for the Brookline transfer station, a drop-off site for waste and recyclables. Although things weren't always as picture-perfect as they seemed. It was no secret that Christopher had struggled with the social portion of his life, where making friends became an
Yep,
almost
that dude's a
impossible
freak.
task. The few that he did have recall his awkward demeanor and tendency to ramble during conversation. On top of this, social cues were somewhat of a foreign concept to the Eagle Scout, making for a rather difficult childhood. Human beings have a fundamental need to connect with other people. When someone is unable to or has great difficulty forming
Dude,
even
that's what I'm saying. There's no way I could fathom a person, like, even like somebody that's like mentally ill. Like, I can't fathom people like just doing that. I can't fathom, like, they're just so far off the spectrum of just normal people, like, that I can't even fathom that somebody could actually do it.
platonic
It's so weird.
relationships. This
Blech.
can be a red flag for a personality disorder. Nonetheless, he carried on with his aspirations of one day becoming a Marine and enrolled in the U.S. Army Cadet Corps Group in Nashua, New Hampshire. There, he won the Academic and Good Conduct Honors Award. Unfortunately, the excellent student would find himself failing out of the training course in 2008. It was around this time that Christopher's friends and family noticed an odd shift in his behavior, and you'll soon find out exactly why that is. The date is October 5th, 2009, only one day after Kimberly's body has been found. The detective reads Christopher his Miranda rights before jumping right into the much-anticipated interrogation. The following never-before-heard interviews have been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney, a licensed clinical psychologist, a former licensed professional counselor, and a licensed professional counselor.
What time do you get up Saturday morning?
Probably 10 something.
Okay.
Me and Steve had planned to go around and look at some yard sales.
Okay.
The pair of friends had supposedly visited
Bro,
a
what
couple of
weirdos.
local yard sales, but were unable to find anything worth purchasing. Following the unsuccessful shopping spree, Christopher drove Stephen back home. But this wouldn't be the last that they see of each other on
Dude,
this
you know what I wish for? I wish I could just catch these dudes in the street, you know what I'm saying? Give me them 1-on-4. See what happens. You know what I'm saying?
day.
Dudes that beat women and stuff.
Evening now.
See what
You
happens.
guys making plans Saturday night, weekend night, you're gonna go do something?
We were gonna just all chill like at Walmart or something.
Mm-hmm. Who do you chill there with? Who usually hangs out with you guys?
Me, Steve, Billy, Quinn's a friend of ours, but he couldn't get out that night.
Okay.
He tried and
Dude, Stan,
you know.
we would absolutely mess these kids up, bro. I honestly. I honestly think you could just sit back and watch, and I'll 1v4. Just get the camera out, dude. There's no way There's no way
Yeah,
these
what
dudes can
happens
take
to
me
him?
on a single one. Look at this little shrimp right here. Look at this little shrimp. You can just tell he's a shrimp. Other guys ain't got no chance, dude.
Is that what you guys?
They don't want this
actually
undead
wanna
Steve
do?
special 2 to the face, bro.
Well, we went over to Walmart, but Billy, I guess, had stuff to do, so he didn't get there till later.
When the detective questions Christopher about whether that's actually what they did, Christopher avoids answering the question directly, which is a red flag for possible deception. He may be trying to buy some time to think about what he should say. In addition, he mentions 2 new people, 17-year-old Quinn Glover and
name is Billy?
18-year-old
That's what I'm
William
saying, bro.
Marks, also known as Billy, who'd been part of a friend group with Christopher and Stephen, although Billy and Christopher had only just met a week prior.
You and Steve went to Walmart, and then Billy met up with you at some point?
I think we did. I'm pretty sure it was this Saturday when we did.
Okay.
Christopher uses a selective memory statement of I think, and then a qualifier of pretty sure, which are additional red flags for possible deception. The event he's describing was only 2 days ago, so it's something he should remember and be certain about. He may realize that if he wants to play it off as though he has a bad memory, then he needs his memory to be poor on days that don't involve crime and murder. However, the detective will likely be able to confirm or deny Christopher's recount of events based on possible surveillance footage or eyewitness statements, which Christopher may be realizing now.
And this is sometime around midnight that you meet Billy?
Yeah.
How long were you guys there beforehand?
Well, we didn't stay completely in Walmart. To be honest, I didn't really put it to memory much.
Yeah.
I remember we were hanging out, but I don't remember doing much of anything.
Someone who's being deceptive is more likely to give evasive
God,
answers.
get that picture out of my
They
face.
want to leave open the possibility to
Jesus.
change their story
Get it
if
away.
needed, such as if a detective presents
What is
evidence
that?
that they were actually somewhere different than they said. If a suspect gives a definite alibi with no room for alterations, then it'll be much more difficult to adjust the story later on. In addition, Christopher may feel like he needs to be cautious about what he says in case one of his friends gives a different account. Next, he states that they made their way to another friend's house, 19-year-old Autumn Savoy. At Autumn's, Christopher recalls that they watched the popular show Dexter, and he begins to describe his fascination with the series.
The basic principle, I think, is he's like addicted to like blood and stuff.
Dude, I thought that
Like,
knife was a gaming controller too.
He kills people too because of that, which probably sounds really bad in a homicide investigation saying we're watching that, but
Yeah, it
being
does.
honest, like we find it really entertaining because he works as a blood expert for the police department. And he goes out when he finds people that they either can't get evidence on or somebody who's done something really incredibly evil, generally murderers, oddly enough. And he goes out and he kills them in this ritualistic fashion, but it doesn't really like show him killing them or anything.
What comes off as somewhat creepy is Christopher's interest in the character and the fact that he's going into such detail about the show. It seems that he doesn't think this will make him look at all suspicious, even continuing to state that they watched several hours of the show before he and Steven slept in his car, which the detectives find to be rather odd.
How come you guys didn't sleep in the house?
There's only like 2 couches inside,
Yeah.
and so we just hung out in the car because it holds in heat pretty well.
The pair had supposedly left Autumn's place around 7 or 8 in the morning before Christopher drove Steven back to his house. They met again later that afternoon at 1:30 and visited more local yard sales. It turns out that they were in desperate need of money, and, just as their luck would have it, Christopher stated that they were
Dude,
able to
I'm
purchase
broke,
a
and you don't see me
decent amount
going
of jewelry for
and
only
murdering a
$20
mom and
from
a
one sale
child.
in particular.
Come on now.
Now, we will find out
If you're
exactly
broke, just
what
go,
they
just go
did
start
with the newfound
doing some
merchandise,
sports betting.
while getting to meet our additional suspect, Steven.
Of course.
The detective asked similar questions to that of Christopher's interrogation,
Dude's
where
17,
Steven
bro. That's
gives
crazy.
the same story.
I just went downstairs and discovered that someone at the mall, you and somebody else went down there and pawned some jewelry. Is that right?
I didn't. My friend did. Chris did.
Chris did. You were with Chris and you guys went there. But somebody recognized as you as being there.
Okay, I
was
there.
Okay.
We went down to go pawn some stuff at the jewelers. I don't know why that's illegal.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
You know, part of what we've done, I'm trying to create a timeline of where you were so we can talk to you. You told us, you know,
Yeah.
what was it, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, you said you were at Walmart on 101A in
Yeah.
Amherst. But We're gonna go back. We're gonna check that. Okay, he says he was here. He was there. Okay.
When a suspect acts defensive, such as Stephen is doing here, this can be a red flag for deception, but his age may
A
be a
red flag.
factor in his behavior. The logical part of the brain, known as the prefrontal cortex, isn't fully developed until around the age of 25, and even a few years later for men, which can partially explain why teenagers and children tend to act.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, if you're robbing a place and there's a little girl, like, just go, like, shove her in the closet or something.
Based on their emotions,
You don't gotta
rather
kill
than
her.
thinking things through. It's also possible that Stephen sees the interview as a big inconvenience for him.
So weird.
Well, what did Chris call him?
Let me see, I had some new gold necklaces. I didn't really look at it.
Okay.
She told me it was worth money, and I needed money for weed.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you.
It's all for some weed? Are you serious?
How many necklaces do you remember?
We had like two or three. Like $130 worth of gold.
Bro, that's actually
Christopher and
so
Stephen had
sad.
only recently become friends again, after previously meeting during their time in the Boy Scouts. Years later, they would somehow reconnect, bonding over the same interests, and Stephen, just like his friend, had grown up with issues of his own. As Stephen's mother was allegedly struggling with addiction during her pregnancy, Stephen tested positive for illegal substances upon his birth, but would go on to beat the odds and was adopted by a loving family at only 5 days old.
God dang.
During his childhood years, Stephen was a picture of happiness, outgoing and personable,
What happened?
given every opportunity
Dude,
in
honestly,
life.
W parents
He
for adopting him like that. You know what I'm saying?
Participated
That's
in
actually
various
crazy.
sports and joined both the
They
Boy
gave him a
Scouts
chance and
and
he
the
still
theater
failed.
group, all of which gave him the chance to make friends. But once he approached his teenage years, it was like a switch had gone off. In an instant, the once lovable boy turned cold and became uncontrollable. This would later be confirmed through one of his close friends, Autumn, who had much to say about the troubled young man.
I just knew Steve was getting worse from talking to him. And then at some point, he went away. I don't know exactly where. When he came back, he was not the same person. He wasn't that emo kid who had issues at home. He was this kid who wanted to be a gangster, a big drug dealer. Like, it was
I'll
odd
never
because
understand why people
somehow
wanna do
he
that.
always managed to
So
have
weird.
money for drugs. He would sneak out at night.
So weird.
He'd quote unquote borrow his parents' cars. Like, we'd hang out a lot. He was someone I could talk to. It was nice to have someone else who understood.
His mood swings could happen in the blink of an eye, leaving his friends and family to walk on eggshells. But even worse, Stephen was developing violent tendencies. His mother, Christine Spader, noted that at one point, Stephen had punched a wall out of sheer frustration. During a most memorable incident, Stephen and his father were having a heated argument, and the teenager, engulfed in rage, allegedly pulled out a knife. He started to associate with kids from different high schools, where he apparently joined a gang known as the Crips.
Oh, God.
Although his father, also named Stephen, believed this to be nothing
Now, why
but
has everybody got to be named Steven?
teenage nonsense.
Come on.
In addition, he would take recreational and prescription drugs in order to help with his
Dude, it's
supposed
just me. Like, dude, this man's like, everything about his hair is just actually just triggering me. Just the way his facial hair is like, oh, it's actually just so
anxiety.
irritating.
Stephen's parents grew increasingly worried about their rebellious teen and finally took him to see a psychiatrist in 2006. Stephen's behavior indicates that he was showing signs of having conduct disorder. Sometimes when behavioral problems are sudden and
that baby
severe,
facial
like in
hair.
Stephen's case, it occurs due to some sort of trauma or major stressor in the young person's life. And because Stephen was heading down such a dangerous path, his parents reportedly spent thousands of dollars in an attempt to help their son. However, he was eventually diagnosed with bipolar disorder and major depression.
Dude, his eyebrows do look
They
different.
would apparently go so far
do
as
look
to
very
enroll
different.
him in an
I just noticed
addiction
that.
treatment center, but were devastated to learn that he required a higher level of treatment than the facility could offer. Stephen was then taken to a residential treatment center, but left within a month, yet another failed resource. He even spent a few short days in psychiatric hospitals in 2008 and supposedly ran away with his girlfriend later that year. but was found in New York and returned home within days. It seemed that there was nothing left to try, but the devoted parents would never give up on their child, although not a single thing could have prevented the heinous acts of the monster that was about to be unleashed.
Back to early Sunday morning. There's no way that he could have been in Mount Vernon with
He's not there.
Chris and Billy?
No. No. No.
All right, well, I got some more information when I was downstairs.
Yeah.
Billy has basically given it up.
This may be an example of the prisoner's dilemma, in which Stephen now faces the decision of whether to confess or to stick with his story. If Billy says nothing and Stephen says nothing, it's possible that there is not enough evidence to tie them to the crime, and they'll face no punishment. However, if Billy has talked and implicated Stephen, it's possible.
Jack, welcome. To catch you up on this, basically there's 4 dudes that are in like a gang or something. And I guess they went into this house and murdered this little girl and her mom. Except the little girl actually lived somehow, even though they absolutely like beat her to... just crazy stuff.
But Stephen could face a harsher punishment if he doesn't give his side of the story. But if Stephen confesses his role and Billy has admitted his part as well, they will likely both be punished. The prisoner's dilemma is such an effective tactic because Stephen is separated from the others. He doesn't know what they're saying or if they've cracked under the pressure. If he knew for sure the others weren't talking, he would feel more confident in keeping his original story. But the seeds of doubt are likely gnawing at him now, leaving him panicking about what to do.
I'd like to be let out, or I'd like to hear from a lawyer now. So you guys are going to start accusing me of doing something.
Well, I mean, I kind of accused you all along. I'm trying to tell you what I know and what I found out. And if you want an attorney, all you have to say is, I want an attorney. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, this is all voluntary. I don't know why I can't be let out right now. I want to leave. I would like to leave right now.
I'm told that you're not leaving.
Got him.
Because they believe there's enough information to place you at the scene of the crime. And
Dude, yeah, these people are
you're
crazy.
someone that's caused this to happen.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Are you asking for an attorney? You're asking to leave, or are you...
I'm asking to leave because I think this is bullshit. I came down here voluntarily.
Yes.
To voluntarily talk to you
Self-report.
guys. Now you guys are telling me
Self-report.
that I can't leave, and I didn't do anything. I want to be let out.
Okay.
And I want to smoke a cigarette.
Okay.
Frustrated that the
Dude's worried about a cigarette and he just beat a girl to pulp, dude. That's
detectives must end the interrogation.
people in this world are
It's
crazy.
possible that Stephen refuses to believe his friend has betrayed him, but, as we will later hear from Billy, he was ready to come clean. In the meantime, there are still a few things that Christopher's interrogators would like to cover.
And right now, I'm going to tell you that there are some other stories that are being told.
Oh, they're giving the
Gotta
good old...
think long and hard right now about what happened this weekend.
Okay.
Okay? Let's go back to Saturday night.
Alright.
What happened after you left your girlfriend's party?
This dude has a girlfriend? What am I doing wrong? That's crazy. So that one dude beating the guy on the couch with a bat is crazy. Nah, this is actually... That's crazy, but at least like he had a kind of motive. Like that dude was actually probably an abuser. This is just weird.
Okay.
This is just straight
I mean,
weird.
he's going out with Steve.
The confrontation phase of the interrogation is now underway, but Christopher maintains his original story, although the detectives aren't buying it.
What do you know about what happened up there in Mount Vernon?
All I know is like this morning, like really early this morning, we were looking on the internet on the Telegraph to see what was going on, and there was something about there was a lady killed in Mount Vernon.
Wow,
and there's
really?
like a young girl that's in stable condition in the hospital. I don't know if it was me or one of Steve's friends or something. Somebody texted one of us or emailed us. I just remember that we heard that the girl was conceivably in the same class as one of our friend's sisters or something. So I guess she's about 10 years old.
What a no.
Which,
What a no.
honestly, I hope she's going to be okay. Because that's horrible to do something to a little girl. But
It's common in the Reid technique for investigators to ask what the suspect thinks the purpose of the interview is. Individuals who are being honest are more likely to use realistic words to describe the crime, while deceptive individuals may answer vaguely or use soft words like hurt or attack instead of murder. Christopher's use of the word killed here is in line with what a truthful subject might say. However, his reference to the girl in the hospital is vague. This may be an example of how most people who are being deceptive won't answer every question in a deceptive way. People will generally provide a mix of deceptive and truthful behaviors, but there will be more deceptive indicators when someone is lying and more truthful indicators when someone's being honest. This is why it's important for detectives to interpret body language and verbal responses in conjunction with the actual physical evidence.
I mean, I know it sounds cold, but it wasn't a huge deal to me because I didn't know him.
Although Christopher has not been formally diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder,
I think dude, you could diagnose somebody based off of this picture. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
it's always interesting
They're
when
crazy.
people such as psychopaths use language like this, because it shows their awareness of what empathy, or lack of, is, but also their ability to be manipulative.
Assuming that somebody specifically tried to kill them, like, that rubs against my conscience personally. I'm one of those type of gentlemanly chivalry sort of guys that you don't even hit girls, let alone go out and treat them badly.
Christopher's statement here may be what is known as a convincing statement. Individuals who are telling the truth don't usually feel the need to prop up their story with convincing statements about what a great person they are, because they know the facts are on their side. On the other hand, individuals who are being deceptive may use these sorts of statements to bolster their image
Dude,
and
'em
persuade
away.
detectives to believe them.
If the girl's in the hospital, obviously she probably got injured or something.
Well, Chris,
So-
it's funny you should mention that because I want to let you know she is going to survive. Fortunately,
That's good.
yeah, that is real good because it's real good because she deserves to be alive, and so does
Dude,
so does
imagine
Ronnie,
what that girl
you
has
know?
to live
But
through.
You know what else?
No,
is
that's
good?
crazy.
It's good because she can ID the two people that.
Ooh.
That'd be awesome. I hope you guys can do that.
Christopher's voice is slightly shakier, and he overall sounds less sure of himself here as the detectives attempt to break his confidence. And although Christopher states his relief that Jamie is expected to survive, he's likely panicking at the thought that she may be able to identify him.
Let's say it was a robbery gone wrong. Mom ends up dead. The little girl ends up seriously injured. People involved in it are
They're pretty
captured.
nasty people.
What do you think
Yeah,
of
they
that?
are nasty people.
Well,
That's
they
the
should
thing.
probably get sent to jail for the rest of their life in prison.
These people
I
suck.
honestly don't know what's the difference between jail and prison.
Although Christopher's
This guy
response
doesn't even know
sounds
the difference?
okay
That's
at
crazy.
first glance, it's a red flag that he qualified his answer with the word probably. Most truthful individuals would provide a firm response in a situation like this. If the officers had doubt about his involvement before, then they definitely don't any longer.
The thing that seems to have led you to me is the car.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know, maybe a car like that was just seen in the area, and so you're checking out that lead. It's quite possible I was in the area. I could have been driving down that road right when it happened, which kind of scares
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
me. Because what if they come out
People
of the house
suck.
and needed a getaway car?
Dude, I want all four of these
can't
guys'
leave
life
my
sentences.
car? That kind of makes me nervous. I probably won't drive around there too much anymore.
This
Oh my
statement
God,
indicates
this guy's
that
so
not only
weird.
does he know the exact area the police are referring to, but he won't go there again.
So weird.
This may have been a slip-up on his
Oh.
part, as
That means that he's been there before. Got him.
Christopher was likely trying to convince the detectives that not only was he not involved in the crime,
He was there.
but he could have even potentially been the killer's next victim. However, in doing so, he seemingly confirmed that he had been in that area.
He slipped up.
In addition, asking the suspect to elaborate on their knowledge of the evidence is a common way to get them talking, and a possible opening for them to make mistakes.
Let's say you were on that road.
Okay, guys, give me a quick sec. I'm gonna fill up my drink and I might get like a snacks real quick. Give me a couple minutes. Okay. You guys just chill for a sec. I'll be right back.
that night.
Among the community lived the Cates family.
I just sold so hard. I just sold so hard, guys. I was talking the whole time. I was muted. I think we're right here. Yeah. But at me, I definitely did not stream yesterday. I think you're obsessed. No, I'm just kidding. I streamed yesterday. I'm pretty sure you were here.
Scares me shitless.
It should.
Because not only does it make me a suspect, obviously, since you're questioning me, but that really scares me that somebody who is willing to attack, even if they were just trying to get out of the house, a woman and a little girl, of course they're going to attack me for my car. Like, I've never had my car jacked, but I've been scared of it sometimes.
Dude, this guy's
Apparently,
so
while driving around on Saturday night, Christopher and Stephen traveled all the way to Mont Vernon. Christopher states that they eventually parked in a driveway down one of the back roads for a bathroom break, but he doesn't clearly remember where they were. Unsurprisingly, the detectives find this to be more than suspicious, but rather than confront Christopher just yet, they switch gears to a new topic: the gang. Stephen had recently formed the Disciples of Destruction, looking to achieve a sense of brotherhood along with financial prosperity. He recruited none other than Christopher, Billy, and Quinn, where the essential values of the group consisted of loyalty and violence, with the only way in being the commission of crime. The recruit would invade a house and dispose of anyone who may be inside. Seeing as Christopher was having trouble at home, he wanted more than anything to be part of something where he could freely express himself.
Dude, why all these guys have just terrible facial hair? Okay, this guy, I mean, it's not too bad from that side, I guess.
Christopher had been accusing his mother of
Dude,
emotional
if you don't have like good facial hair, just you gotta shave, and that's why I shave.
and physical abuse for quite some time,
Cold ritual,
claiming
yeah,
that
for
she
sure.
would allegedly pin him to the floor and pop acne on his back, spank him, and
Bro.
require him to carry a vacuum around the house.
What?
The accusations were never confirmed, but his mother did recall a time
nah,
where
that's
she had
crazy.
spanked the child so hard with a wooden spoon that the utensil broke.
God!
She would later admit that she regretted losing her control, but has since denied any of the other allegations, and there is no evidence of them being true. Nonetheless, during his early teenage
they gotta
years,
stop showing that.
Christopher began to have dark and twisted
They have to stop showing this.
fantasies
Please.
about his mother, and wished
What?
that one day he would carry them out. Confessing his evil thoughts to a counselor at cadet camp, he supposedly stated his thoughts of wanting to cut his mother into pieces
Oh my
and listen to her
God.
scream like I
Dude.
screamed.
This
The
is not
counselor,
normal.
horrified at what they'd heard, immediately notified Christopher's parents. They were absolutely shocked at the confession and didn't wait long to bring Christopher in for a psychological evaluation. The psychiatrist concluded that he'd been displaying traits of antisocial personality disorder, but was too young to be formally diagnosed.
Bro, come on, age aside. No kid in the right mind says, I want to go home and chop up my mom into pieces. Nobody says that. Nobody says that.
Despite the
That's not normal.
blood-curdling fantasies, the teenager was not considered a threat to society.
What?
Or at least,
What?
that's what was decided at the time.
What?
If these dark and twisted fantasies were expressed as just Christopher's angry thoughts towards his allegedly abusive mother, it would be difficult to have him committed to a psychiatric facility. In addition, inpatient psychiatric hospitalizations are typically limited to days or weeks at most. It's rare for patients to be committed for months at a time unless they have a very severe mental illness. So, although Christopher displayed all the signs of likely being a hazard to society, it's difficult for his parents, his counselor, or his psychiatrist to do anything to stop him from someday acting on those thoughts. Sadly, in many cases, it's only when the person acts that measures are taken to prevent them from harming others again. Angry and frustrated, it seems to be of excellent timing when he and Stephen had reconnected in 2009.
What would you do if Steve put you in a position, a pretty hairy predicament? Would you stop him, or would you follow him
I would stop him.
and deal with the consequences later?
I would definitely stop him, because I don't put up with stuff from anyone to a certain degree. If he's gonna smoke cigarettes and he's almost 18, I don't care.
We're not
If
talking.
he's gonna-
We're not talking smoking cigarettes.
So yeah,
We're not talking drinking beer if you're underage.
no, I'm just using.
I'm
that as an
talking
example.
Serious stuff.
I don't think you really get the big picture. You are here for a reason, okay? You want to know what the other guys are talking about?
Uh-oh.
They're not talking about cigarettes.
Uh-oh.
So you better start thinking really hard and pull your head out of your behind and start telling us what happened on Saturday night, because it's not looking very good for you. People are talking about something different than what you are telling us. This was Saturday night. This wasn't 3 months ago Saturday night. This was Saturday night. It is Monday right now. There should be no question in your mind what you did. You just told us you don't use drugs. You don't drink.
No.
You have no reason to have this memory loss.
I just don't put anything into long-term memory unless it's
Let's take a deep breath and think long and hard about what happened Saturday night.
This is the prisoner's dilemma at play again, this time with Christopher being on the receiving end of it. He likely believes that his selective memory is a safe bet right now, as it leaves the door open for him to suddenly remember something later and adjust his story. However, what he doesn't seem to realize is that having a memory of extremes like this is highly suspicious. With this in mind, the detectives are hoping to back Christopher into a corner, but the teenager refuses to budge, although this won't last for long.
Well, I can't tell you anything but what I think I did.
What you think you did? Don't tell me what you think you did. Tell me what you did, okay? Be a man and tell me what you did.
We got in the car and left.
Shut your mouth, Chris.
We don't
Shut
do
your
anything on Saturday nights. We just drive around.
The issue comes down to what was your role in what happened Saturday night?
Do you really think we did that?
I think you know who did something. I think you know what went on there.
Dude, I gotta know the
I think
motive.
you have knowledge about what went on there that can help us with our investigation.
Christopher's question stands out as
For
a
real.
possible indication
I
of
don't put
deception.
anything into long-term
Someone-
memory. He's got like he's a robot. He can select what he chooses.
Someone who's being truthful is more likely to adamantly deny any involvement in a firm tone of voice. But Christopher's is weak,
It's longer than
and his question is
an hour.
clearly lacking any actual denial.
So I think what we'll do, guys, is we're gonna watch this, and then we'll watch the video that you recommended, Stan, and that'll probably be it for today. And then I'm gonna stream tomorrow too. So
The detective is also using an alternative explanation that minimizes the suspect's role in the crime by asserting that Christopher has knowledge of it, but without accusing him of taking part in the act itself.
You guys really think that we did it, don't you?
You tell anyone you did it?
No?
No. You didn't tell anyone you did it.
Why would you
So if
tell
I told you
did
someone
it?
is telling us right now that you told them that you cut that little girl's throat, that would be a lie.
Yes.
That would be a lie.
I would never hurt a girl, let alone some little girl. That would be horrible.
Start telling us, Chris, about why you guys went into that house. Because right now, it isn't a question if, it's a question why.
I
Start
don't even know what
talking, Chris.
house. We were just driving around.
Who?
Just me and Steve.
You and Steve.
Just
and
me
what
and
happened
Steve.
next?
dude, these guys just
We drove
This doesn't add
around.
up.
We stopped maybe and took a break to pee.
we stopped and took a break to pee.
And then we got back in the car and drove around more.
See, here's the thing, Chris. You feel
Chris
like
is
you're
a bad
giving
liar.
us just enough to explain away what you think we might know, or things that we might have. And you're thinking that that's going to be enough where later on you can say, well, I told you that. Well, I said that. Well, I can explain that. You do not know all that we know.
No,
Rest
I'm telling you
assured.
what I know.
Rest assured, you do not know all that we know.
During the interrogation, one of the detectives has been stepping out of the room to retrieve information from the other interviews that are taking place with Billy, Quinn, Stephen, and Autumn. And little does Christopher know, his friends weren't as willing to conceal the truth.
It's okay to tell the truth. It is okay to say what happened, to tell the truth. Because society is going to draw its own version of this whole thing. They already have. You read the paper.
God.
You read the Telegraph.
It's just a paragraph online.
Okay,
Oh.
if that's all you read, fine. But I bet in that one paragraph, you can sum up what the reporter's attitude about the whole thing is. There's some animal out there hacking people up, killing people in their own home in the middle of the night. That's an animal.
Dude,
That's a killer.
Well, yeah.
it's actually
That's
sickening.
someone that needs to be killed themselves. A guy like you, come on. You're not cruising yard sales on a weekend. Come
Sure
on.
I do.
No, you're not. That jewelry is going to be traced back to that house. And we're going to check the records of anything else you pawned off. Because you even said they take your name, your license number, all that information. How much of that other jewelry and those other goods that you pawned off are going to come back to other burglaries? It was just that. Simple burglaries.
I've
You
never
sneak
robbed
in.
anyone. The most I've done is I was like 9 years old. I tried to take a thing of Pokemon stickers from a KD Toys.
You serious right now? I tried to take a thing of Pokemon stickers from a kid's toys. Huh? Huh?
Stop minimizing.
Huh?
Stop. We're not talking.
done
We're not talking
anything.
smoking when you're under 18. We're not talking stealing Pokemon.
What's the storyline here? Dude, this one's actually kind of pissing me off because these people are so weird. Basically, 4 dudes. They're in like a gang, I guess, like 18 to 21 years old. Supposedly broke into a woman's house to steal jewelry or something, and absolutely just butchered the mom. And then absolutely beat the girl, a little girl. I don't know how old, 12, 10, something. I don't really know how old she was, but the girl actually lived. The mom obviously did not. But this is called When Teen Killers Realize a Little Girl Tricked Them.
Pokemon stickers. We're
And they're just
talking
denying
murder.
everything.
I don't do that.
You may not have, but someone in that house
Yeah, this guy's comparing Pokemon stickers to
did.
murdering a woman.
You were there.
I was never in any
You
house.
were there.
Investigators again pose the alternate theory that gives the appearance of minimizing the severity of the
Dude,
crime.
for real.
This is meant in part to keep the suspect
Poor Chris.
talking and eventually willing to admit to something, and eventually the truth of their role in the crime. Nonetheless, Christopher refuses to waver on his original story, invoking that as an Eagle Scout, murder is not a core value.
Chris, let me ask you this. You ever been in the Nashua River? That mean anything to you?
Uh-oh.
I don't know which river the
That's
national
where they
river
put the
is.
body or something?
You don't know?
Or what does that mean?
Been to the river lately?
Supposed to
Haven't
gun or
been
something?
lately? No.
I don't know.
No? You haven't been by a river lately?
Unless you keep driving over one or...
Driving over one. Oh, like a bridge, you know?
Stop
Okay.
minimizing.
I'll let him
Stop
pass.
dancing around the issue. John has asked you a very specific question. Have you been to a river lately? Yes or no?
Fine, yes, I've been to the river.
See how
I
easy that
parked
was?
next to the hatch.
When was this?
I don't know.
2 nights ago?
Maybe yesterday we went and got
What did you
some
go to the
stuff at
river
hatch
for, Chris?
today.
What did you go by the river for?
I parked.
What'd
next
you
to the
throw
hatch.
in the river, Chris? What
I
did
didn't
you throw in the
anything
river? What was thrown in the
Threw
river,
away some
Chris?
Pokemon cards.
I didn't throw anything in the river.
What was thrown in the river? I didn't ask if you did. What was thrown in the river?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't throw anything in the
You're
river.
lying, Chris.
I don't know.
You're lying. We have evidence.
Chris is lying,
You're
guys.
lying. You know what happens to people who slice little girls in prison?
Yikes.
You know what happens to them?
They
Do
die.
you know?
No, I've never been to prison.
Yeah? Well, you know what? You're going to find out.
Then arrest me.
My God, what were you thinking?
Dude, that's
What were
actually
you thinking when you
horrifying.
were hatching away at her?
God.
Hacking away at her. Hearing her scream.
No, they haven't admitted anything yet. He's basically just asking him. I guess they have information that he's been to a river. He threw like something away, and yeah.
Were you smiling? You were smiling, weren't you?
Oh my God, this is
You are
sick.
that sick. You are that sick animal that went in there with the sole purpose
God.
carrying that shit. Because the other guys might have thought it was just a burglary. They're just going to skim a little jewelry, go make a little cash, be done with it. But you went in there with another plan. You went in there to kill. You liked it. That rush. that
Dude,
adrenaline. You
oh,
liked it.
stop.
Till the lights came on. When reality hit. You saw the damage you had done.
Bro,
The
this guy's
detectives
sick.
have shifted from placing the blame on Stephen to making Christopher the actual ringleader. They've tried playing him as the victim who simply followed along, but since that tactic didn't work, their next option is to evoke anger or guilt in hopes that he will tell the truth. It's possible that the investigators believe that he's the psychopathic mastermind and that calling him out on it would appeal to his nature. Trying to paint him as a follower if he is the leader would, after all, be an insult to him.
If you were given that opportunity, would you offer an apology to that little girl for what happened to her and her mom?
No, because I didn't do anything.
Would you?
If I had done it, yes.
Most people would tell a person that was severely injured they were sorry it happened, regardless of their involvement. It's part of an empathetic response.
Yeah, that's true.
Christopher's answer lends significant credibility to the idea that he is on the psychopathic end of antisocial personality disorder, since lack of empathy is a key component of psychopathy. This statement labels him something of a
Dude, like,
deviant.
how could you do it to a little girl? Like, how could you, like, that's what blows my mind, dude.
Whether he was guilty of this particular crime or not, following the...
How do you eat your Pop-Tarts? Well, if you think I eat the crust, you're damn wrong. I take the crust off, and I just eat the frosting part. That's pretty much it, honestly. You could toast them, you can not toast them. Either way, they're good. And s'mores Pop-Tart's the best.
heated
What are you, 6? No, I'm 7. We don't eat the crust around the Pop-Tarts. What's the point of that? There's 0 flavor. I give the rest to Drax. Take the crust off? We're not eating the crust, guys. Who eats crust on a Pop-Tart? You guys might as well be in this gang.
confrontation,
So weird.
Christopher decides that he doesn't want to speak with the detectives any longer. But over an hour later, he seems to have changed his mind. Not only this, but now we're able to...
It's not like I'm strategically picking it off, you know what I'm saying? It's real quick. You just bend, like, you got your Pop-Tart right here. You just bend the sides off and just start eating it.
hear
I
from
would
the
eat the crust. It has no taste at all. It's just wasted time even eating it.
much talked about Billy, who has been confessing all along. The detectives begin by reading Billy his rights and quickly dives into his side of the story.
It's not a picky eater. It's a smart eater. I'm good with my time. I don't waste time eating crust. I just eat it.
Your chance to talk, Billy, so I'd like you to just tell us what you know about the incident.
You guys are the real ones.
I only know what I've heard from my teachers today in school. Okay, Billy. The information we have is that you were there.
The detective informs
It
Billy
takes more time to take the crust off. Dude, next time, I'll just race somebody and we'll eat a Pop-Tart and we'll see who finishes first because it's going to be me. It's going to be me.
that he's not the only suspect being interviewed at this very moment.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us what you know about the incident out in Mount Vernon? What I know, like, about which part? About your involvement in the incident. Yes. My involvement was, I was just there. Okay. Who were you there with? Steve Stairs and Chris, I don't know his last name is. You don't know Chris's last name? I've known him for a week. Okay. And who else were you there with? Quinn Glover. Okay.
Billy is minimizing his involvement by using the word just. This is likely an attempt to lessen his punishment and possibly any feelings of guilt. Given how quickly he admitted to being there, it's possible that he either...
Dude, race me. I have less to eat, you know what I'm saying? You guys got to eat the crust. I'm literally one bite, just swallowing all the
compelled to
frosting.
clear his guilty
That's all I'm
conscience.
saying. That's the last I'll say about it.
He's a person who succumbs
What do you guys think the best flavor is? Because it's just s'mores. That's it.
easily to pressure.
Brown cinnamon sugar, whatever. Pretty good. But s'mores is superior to all of them.
In addition, when more than one person is involved in a crime, a psychological phenomenon known as diffusion of responsibility occurs. This means that each person feels less responsible for the crime because the responsibility is shared. If Billy is being honest and saying that he was there but didn't actively participate in the attack, he may have justified the crime to himself because others were doing something much worse.
I get a call or a text from Stevie saying that he's in the trailer park I live in. Yeah, and he wanted to meet up with me. He wouldn't tell me why or what or anything. So I'm like, whatever, why not? So I met him down the street. So you go and you meet Steve. Yeah. And who's with Steve at this point? I think it was just him. And was he on foot? Was he in a vehicle? He was on foot. Okay. And what happened at that meeting? He told me that he was going to Walmart to meet Chris.
Apparently, Stephen had texted Billy around midnight. After meeting Christopher at Walmart, their next stop would be Quinn's house before heading off for the night.
Dude, there's too many people to keep track of. They all look so similar and they all look so stupid.
However, as we'll hear from Quinn himself, he wasn't all too thrilled to be joining the trio that night. Apparently, Stephen had informed him earlier that day of his plans to commit a robbery, whereas Quinn was a little apprehensive at the idea. Regardless, Stephen would ensure his friend's compliance and made his way to Quinn's house a little after 12 a.m.
Dude, how do you guys think people like this exist, you know? Who wakes up and says, I'm going to be the villain today?
Share me your stream, my boy.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I'm going to sit here and watch if this fucking parlay hits because it's a fucking bad one.
Starcher, I've been robbed today, actually. I got robbed.
Yeah, same.
No, I got absolutely criminally robbed.
The Hawks are about to beat the Celtics without their star player.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, I got to restart my
How?
Discord. It's being weird.
The Hawks are no shot. They're about to fucking win.
Dude, I cannot believe that the Rangers did me dirty like that. That's crazy. Zach, you can also join if you want.
Dude, the Hawks are fucking beating them.
Okay, I'm back. Dude, well, I had the Rangers money line. I put $60 on it, and they were up 6-0, and they lost 7-6. So I've had a good day. All right, let's just forget about it. Let's just
I
stop.
told Stevie that
I'm actually
my
might get a
dad
bowl of cereal.
caught me going out.
You want to hear about this fucking Trae Young stat line, bro?
What's he doing?
35 points, 4 rebounds, 13 assists.
Man's popping off.
Yeah.
What's up, Stam?
Yeah.
Saying you were robbed 0 times? Well, maybe you should start betting so you can get robbed.
My dad was downstairs, so I said it very softly.
Yeah,
to
that's
the
all
phone, but I
35.
said, "Your dad caught you?"
All right, I'm gonna let you guys watch this for a sec. I'm not even gonna pause. I'll let you guys just react to it real quick for like 2 minutes. I'm gonna get a bowl of cereal.
I need a stream.
Yes.
Just catch me up on the details whenever. Oh, my bad. My bad.
I'm really liking this video chat.
Yeah, honestly, the Rangers. If I ever see anybody have the Rangers in a parlay,
dude, I took
we'll hurt you.
almost entirely straight.
Say I'll hurt you.
Almost entirely straight, and this is probably my worst day in a while.
Well, honestly, just the Rangers
How
can
does that make
suck a
sense?
dick. That's all I know. Except 6-0 against a poverty franchise is crazy. Anyway,
He said, "I don't care if your
Streaming
dad
on?
catches you. I don't care if you walk out the front door. You have to get out tonight."
Eventually, Quinn agreed to go along and even brought an extra pair of gloves per Stephen's request.
When did you end up in Mount Vernon? When? Yeah. Oh, I have no idea.
Do you have any clue what's
No
going
idea.
on, Zach?
I have no idea what
No.
Mount
I
Vernon.
bet we're
I
in the
guess
same
like
shoes.
this guy killed this little girl.
I was Mount Vernon. All right. I don't remember much of that night. How come?
Alright, bet.
And they're all kind of like throwing blame around, I guess.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Were you using drugs that night? No. Drinking? No. Okay.
It was like
Were
supposed to
any
be a
of the other
robbery.
guys? No. How did you come to target that house?
Yeah, the little
It
girl
was,
was
it was their idea? I have
like,
no
cut her
idea. Okay. At what point did they bring you into the idea and tell you what was going to happen? When they picked me out, or when I met them at Walmart? Okay, what did they discuss with you? They just discussed that they were gonna like try to just, I don't know, they kind of, I don't usually understand him. He doesn't make sense most of the time. Yeah, I've known him for a while.
Sure.
And when he says stuff that he wants to do, he usually doesn't mean it. Yeah, because I don't know. He's just, that's just how I interpret it. But he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go try to do this. Go try and do what? If you don't understand, just use his words. What we're gonna go try and do? Just make some money. That's his expression. We're gonna go try and make some money. Yeah. And that was Steven saying that. Yeah.
If Billy isn't a
Yeah,
violent
that's what I'm about to
criminal,
say, huh?
it makes
That was
sense that he's
Steven's
trying
name,
to block
yeah, he
that
doesn't
night
make
from his
sense.
memory. It can be traumatic to witness such a scene, and
Steven
oftentimes
usually
those who
doesn't
come
make sense.
along for the ride, like Billy claims to have done, could be somewhat afraid of speaking out or trying to stop the others from committing the crime. In addition, Billy may think that if he keeps the details to a minimum, it will make him seem less culpable and save him from having to answer uncomfortable questions. But what Billy may have known was that Stephen, the supposed ringleader of the group, had apparently been discussing his
Steven's
urge
the
to commit
ringleader.
a brutal crime,
He started off saying,
Bro, how
would
did he do
you
this?
take a hit for me? Would you take the blame for me? He would wait for me to agree. And then he would move on and say, would you break into a house with me?
What I missed?
Or would you steal something?
Oh, you committed a crime.
with me?
You're the ringleader,
And then he
dude.
would wait
Steve's
for
the
me.
ringleader?
It's all you.
Yeah,
Huh?
Steven's the ringleader.
It was you all along. You
I
fooled
thought it was
us.
Chris.
Not Steven.
I don't know. They're all like tossing blame around. He said
Yeah,
Steven
tossing blame
doesn't
around.
make sense most of the time. He just kind of goes along with it. He said, I don't really understand what he says.
They all look similar. They all look like little naked
They are.
mole
They
rats.
do.
So.
Great. And then closer to the event, he started talking
Billy kind
about,
of looks
you know,
like my science
would you
teacher.
kill for me if
Yikes.
somebody was on
I would
my
honestly
back?
probably drop that class.
Next, Billy explains that Christopher had driven the group of 4 to the address of 4 Trow Road. They originally planned to burglarize the house next to the Cates, but abandoned the idea out of fear that it would be too big and confusing. Christopher dropped his accomplices off at the residence, but quickly drove off to find an appropriate parking spot, deciding on a house's long driveway down the road. Around 30 minutes later, he met the 3 back at the Cates' home to plan their entry.
They couldn't figure out how to.
Okay, Steven, trying to catch us up on what happened because you threw us into this without knowing anything.
I kind of told Zach. Basically, 4 dudes. They're kind of in like a little gang, cult, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're cool and shit. They're like 17, 21.
Okay.
They broke into a woman's house. I don't know how many
Alright.
of them there were. Maybe just 2 of them. They absolutely severed this little girl, cut her foot off and shit, like
The
with
fuck?
a hand with an axe or something, and then
All right.
murder her mother brutally.
So wait, is the little girl alive or not?
Just to do
Yes,
it?
the little girl lived. She called 911.
Oh, okay.
She was bleeding out whenever they got there, but she lived.
So they just did it to do it.
That's the.
They stole jewelry, so they
Oh.
think it was for money. And one of the guys said it was for weed.
All right.
Bro, that's a little far to go for weed.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever chopped off anybody's foot for weed. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody's ever done that.
I guess.
They said they got in out and I was
Think anybody-
overstand, so
What the
I
fuck?
was looking out, talking to people.
I need my drugs. Shink. Just fucking-
Who came
It was actually because he owed money to DraftKings to put like a 5-leg parlay.
Jesus.
and said they got in.
Honestly,
Look, man,
that kind
I
of
got
Personally, I
news.
would
that,
never.
that makes more sense.
Personally, I would
That's
never.
almost-
That's honestly, I would hope, and nobody in this chat would ever consider anything like this.
Sorry, I can really see nobody, so I don't know who it is. Did you
But
go
we do
into the
endorse
house
sports
with them?
gambling.
How we feel about mini wheat, chat? How we feel about?
Strawberry's the best.
Oh, that's what I'm eating right now,
Oh, it's fire.
Yes.
There is a
dude.
note.
Honestly, there's no worse feeling in the world than flipping a mini wheat over it, and there's no frosting on either
Oh.
side.
That's
Just-
facts.
Just feed it to the wolves.
Noticeable delay
I could
before
give you the
Billy
second
answers
worst
this
feeling in the world.
question.
What's up?
That's when you pour yourself a bowl of cereal, open up the fridge, no milk.
I
Dude.
can't relate.
Oh, that hurts so bad. It happened to me this morning.
Can't relate. I'm not poor. I always have milk.
When someone
Oh, yeah.
hesitates before responding, this usually
Wait, maybe
indicates
I won't.
they're thinking about what to say. Since this was a simple question and he should have readily known if he went inside or not, the pause was likely due to him considering what would happen if he said no. He may have pondered if he would get in less trouble.
Oh, dude.
However,
Let me tell you guys what Stan's got lined up for us. We got one more video after this. It's a banger.
Oh, you got a whole array of videos, huh?
Well, we got this one and then another one.
Oh,
The next
nice.
one's gonna be the mass killer who murdered 8 for a My Little Pony character.
No.
Oh, boy.
That's
however,
fake.
Billy rejected this
We'll
idea.
find
as
out.
He may have realized
Nah,
that the
I've seen one like
detectives
that.
We're
already
gonna find
knew he was
out.
inside. So lying
Steven,
might
that
make
school
things
shooting one,
worse
it's
for
just
him.
like that.
No shot.
A little
It's
guy.
like that, but for Danny
You know, I'll
Phantom.
call you, Billy.
Bro.
Might try to.
Hey, that girl in Danny Phantom,
No
though.
ghost.
So how much do you weigh?
That's what he's talking about, bro, in the damn episode.
No shot.
Yeah, he thinks he's part of, like, the Ghost Squad or
You
whatever.
gotta resend that to my Discord, and then I'll put
Handy to have that cellar
in
window.
the videos for Stream Tab.
The opening there wasn't a big opening, right? For the cellar window? Did they lower you into the cellar window? Yeah. Okay.
Next,
So
we
Billy's
pick
just
up with
confessing.
Christopher,
That's what I'm hearing.
whose confession is one of the most chilling that
Oh
you'll
God.
ever hear.
Oh
Steve
Jesus.
and I are very similar. Steve and Spader.
Good old
Both of
Steve.
us grew up with problems in our
Sticky
families.
Steve.
Technically, we're both sociopaths, legally.
Really?
By,
I would have never got.
psychologist's declaration. There should be a paper in a scripture case in the top drawer of my black dresser that says as much.
Okay.
Sociopathy is not an actual clinical diagnosis, but rather a term that describes a set of personality factors. The terms sociopath and psychopath are sometimes
There you go,
used
Steve.
interchangeably and have many
The thumbnail's all you need.
similarities, but there are a few key differences. Sociopaths may form some attachments to a select few people, while psychopaths are unable to have a genuine connection with anyone. Psychopaths are more likely to be calculating and appear charismatic, whereas sociopaths are more reckless and disorganized. Individuals with antisocial personality disorder may fit the description for sociopathy or psychopathy, but the official diagnosis would be antisocial personality disorder. Christopher's traits seem to heavily align with this disorder, which may not come as a surprise to everyone. Only days before October 4th, 2009, Christopher had sent a frightening message to his ex-girlfriend, Ashley Martin. "I've tried letting my nice side run things. It didn't work. Now the dark side of me will."
Steven, it's
Many
you.
people with antisocial personality
It really is, bro.
It's your dark side.
That's what I
It
texted.
really
That's what I
is,
texted the
bro.
Rangers GM today.
disorder will describe having these two sides to their personality. They can be very charismatic and personable in many cases. However, it doesn't take much for the other
I'll
side
let the
to
wolf
emerge,
out.
which is often triggered by anger, stress,
never
or
mind,
if the
never
person simply has a need to fulfill.
A few days ago, we decided that we were still low on cash.
Dark
We
Steve.
couldn't manage to get
Yeah,
jobs.
dude, who's gonna be here Friday though? That's the question.
I'll be here.
Who's playing some Gartic phone for
I think.
Friday?
And we were going to try and get another
Starcher, we need your
robbery.
immaculate drawings,
We
bro.
weren't sure
My
when or
drawings
how we
aren't
were
that
going
good,
to do
bro.
it. Saturday morning,
Other than my
when
fucking
I was
president,
with
dog.
Steve, he told me
That was
he
fire.
and Billy had been cruising around and had found a house out in Mount Vernon that looked reasonable enough. That it was out in the middle of nowhere, and we were thinking we were going to go in there. When it was just me and him together in the car,
You and him, meaning
me and Steve,
Okay.
in the car, he said, "Yeah, we're just going to go in there, grab some stuff. If anybody's there, we're going to kill and have some fun." I agreed.
What?
We could do that. That sounded good.
This strongly suggests that although Christopher did not know the
Bro,
victims,
what?
there was a conditional intent to kill if people were present in the house. However,
Might get your friends play
premeditation
Gartic
doesn't
phone.
require
Bet. I want a
Dude,
whole.
religious,
I want a
bro.
whole
Oh,
army. in
Tommy
here.
said he wants to play, Steve.
a certain period of time to form as an element of murder. Only enough time to form the intent, consider the crime, and then act. This can be as little as a
Clutch
few
moment.
seconds. But this may not have been the only crime committed by Christopher and Stephen. Apparently, on Sunday, September 27th,
Dude, as soon as I saw that guy on the
only
left, I
one
thought of
week
Corey.
prior
I ain't
to
gonna lie.
Kimberly's death,
Dude, I'm
a
not gonna
robbery
lie.
had taken place in Brookline,
I thought of
right
Brady.
next to Stephen's house.
You know, you know,
Neil
no.
family had left for church at the same time they did every Sunday and returned later that afternoon.
If
It
you ever
wouldn't
see this
be until
somehow,
around
I love it,
7:30
bro.
p.m. that they noticed their back door to the porch had been kicked in. Along with this, they discovered that various items of jewelry were missing, in addition to an iPod, a piggy bank, and several other valuables.
Wii Sports
Nano.
game.
Jeez.
You guys missed that? You guys missed the Wii
I was looking at the
Sports game?
iPod Nano, bro.
No,
It was clutch.
look.
Items of jewelry were missing, in addition
Mike
to
on there, the goat
Wii Sports game.
with nunchuck, with nunchuck and Wii remote. That cost $350.
No.
They
This
lying,
no,
bro.
this was back in 2008.
Game for $30.
This was back in 2008.
an iPod.
If it was
a
Wii Sports
piggy
Resort,
bank,
I
and
would see
several
the,
other
you know,
valuables.
the
Supposedly,
complaint.
Man
Christopher
stole a
had known the
Wii
family
nunchuck.
quite well,
Oh, that's
as
crazy.
they attended the same church, and Stephen was also well acquainted with them on account of the family's close living quarters. Although it hasn't been confirmed, it is most likely the previous robbery that Christopher is referring to here.
Billy was in on it too. He was all for it. We all had
No shot. That's what they
compromise.
did it with, right?
I had found a machete
God.
that my father owned.
Damn.
Dude, people are
Steve mentioned
crazy.
he liked machetes, so I brought it along.
Okay.
That
And,
doesn't even
uh,
look like a machete. It just looks like a big ass
Hoisted out
knife.
the
That's what I'm saying.
Straight.
Yeah, that's a
straight
knife.
about
This is a knife.
4 or 5 inches long.
Okay.
Thin blade. I liked it.
Dude, where did
So,
all the
like-
frosting go on my
So, like-
mini Wii?
Leather case that could go
So,
on
like,
your
do we
belt.
know why they
I
did
chose
this?
that.
Like,
He
actually?
met up.
I genuinely think it was either one of two things: money, or they wanted to kill.
Quinn was going to
Well, I
be
think
on
it was money.
on it too.
Okay.
Autumn was going to be our cover story. He said we'd get there whenever we told him. He'd say we were there
Mhm.
from that time on,
Okay.
so that we had an alibi.
But I feel
This
like if you were there for
information
money,
clearly
you'd steal
shows
more than just the
preparation for
jewelry, right?
commission of the crime
I don't
of
know what was all
murder
in there.
and goes to support
Well, I
premeditation.
mean, I guess they stole a fucking weed nunchuck,
Christopher
so.
also has
Yeah,
an
they got the
interesting
valuable.
deviation from the story here, as the knife he had seems to hold just
They
as
dropped the
much
jewelry
interest
for
to
the
him
nunchuck,
as
bro.
the upcoming story.
We looked around for a good entry point where we wouldn't make a lot of noise. We didn't see any alarm systems, so we figured we were probably set. All the doors were locked.
And where is this at,
We
Steve?
finally found one basement
New Hampshire.
window we thought we could get Billy into if I could get it open.
Yep.
Seems about right.
I used the black.
Yeah, you can tell by the way the cop
knife
talks.
that I own.
Nah, I think these kids were just so bored because there's nothing to do in New Hampshire.
I mean, I'm sure there's more to do than there is here.
I tried to cut
I mean, I'm just saying.
the frame out of the window, but ended up breaking the
I
glass.
can feel the pain.
At which point I basically
Great shit to
bashed
do.
in the window, not the glass, but I managed to break it off of the handle that was on top holding it down. We couldn't get anyone else in any
But
other
they're in a
way so
gang?
far, and so we started.
Yeah,
sliding
it's something
down.
like that. Crips, maybe. I think that's what they said earlier. They
No
said,
shot.
They said Crips earlier. That's
No
what that's
shot.
what they said. That's what he
Billy
said.
got in because he went over to the basement door and thought it was locked.
They don't
because
look like no
pushed on it
Crips to me,
instead of
but
pulling. And so he
I
was
mean,
stuck in the basement.
I
and they were trying
guess.
to get him out.
You do you.
Steve had the idea that we could take the air conditioner out.
Okay.
So I cut the panels off from
Crips.
around the side.
Yep.
And we moved the air conditioner over.
Take note of Christopher's wording here. He asserts his superiority
So is he
over
the leader or
Billy,
is
who
Steven the
most
leader?
likely
What's
had
happening?
an
I think
emotional
they're all just
response and
dumbasses.
panicked. Whereas Christopher believes
It's
himself
obviously,
to be
I know
someone
one
that
thing's for sure. Billy's not the ringleader.
would never get locked
Yeah.
in a room.
I don't really know what's
Continuing
up
with
with
the
Billy.
course
I
of
can't really
events,
catch a vibe off
once
Billy.
Stephen
Billy's
was
just
inside of the
confessing.
home.
I think he was just
quietly
there.
made
I
his
think
way
Billy
to
was
the
just
back
caught up
door,
in
where
Yeah, that's what I'm
Christopher
saying.
and Quinn were waiting outside. They
He just
eventually
happened to be
found
there.
Billy in the basement and proceeded with their depraved plan. Upon their entry, they noticed that the residents had motion detectors. In hopes to avert the system, Christopher swiftly located the breakers next
So
to the
you're telling me
front
that they
door,
went, their
cutting
first
the
house
power
was probably
within
the
a
most
second.
secure house they could have
As they
gone
began
to.
to search for jewelry, an iPod was discovered in one of the several rooms, most likely Jamie's. Using the iPod screen light to guide their way, Stephen led the sadistic
Dude,
path
this is
towards
so
the
weird.
master bedroom, where Kimberly and her daughter were peacefully sleeping.
Dude,
Stephen
imagine waking up to that. Oh, it's so terrifying.
opened the master bedroom door
Why you always sleep with a big old baseball bat under your pillow, guys?
quietly. He looked in. And he said that there are people, but we thought he said there's no people. So he started to get
Oh
a little
yeah,
bit
yeah. I would mix those. I would mix those up
talking,
very
started
easily.
to quiet us down. And then he shined the light on the bed, and that's when they woke up.
Okay.
Oh
The mother
god.
said something like, "Jamie, is that you?"
Oh
Stephen
god.
threw the light.
Oh
He
god.
went
You could have
around
just
to
grabbed the stuff and
inside the
left.
bed,
You know?
where the girl apparently was sleeping. I started to circle around to the other side in case something happened. The mom sat up in the bed, started asking who was there, what was going on, tried to turn on the lamp and it didn't turn on.
Yep.
And when she did that, Steve started hacking at the bed.
Dude, are you kidding me?
Steve!
Why?
with the
Why,
machete.
bro?
Okay.
They started screaming because they heard something. Apparently he missed
So
them most
what we're learning is that Steve is actually just genuinely a
When I heard him
psychopath.
hit the mom.
Or
and
this is
so I
actually
dove
Chris and he's
in,
just covering
stabbed her a few
himself.
times in the chest. Steve was
Also,
just
this is maybe
hacking
all
away
planned
until
from
he
the
lost
beginning
it.
when he's just like covering himself
I
up.
was controlled, but I didn't really feel much of anything.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought I would, but I didn't.
Dude,
were
Steve's 17, I'm pretty sure, by the way.
Quinn and
Wait, what?
Billy
Yeah.
Young.
They stayed by the door.
Oh, so they're all like
They didn't do
17-year-olds.
anything.
No,
Like right out of high school,
20,
probably.
2017, 21.
Like high school, right out of high school, probably.
The
Yeah.
girl
I
jumped
think
up.
Steve's the youngest one, I think.
I almost sensed her in the dark get up and jumped over her mother.
Dude, that
Steve
is
was hacking
so
her. She jumped away.
traumatizing.
Oh!
I stabbed her once towards the face.
Oh no, you know he's telling the truth
no.
now. You know
Yeah,
he's telling the
I
truth
guess.
I
now.
went for the front as I was swinging her around, and she got free of my hand and went flying into the glass door, knocked her head, stopped crying completely.
This is
The
so
fact that your
sad.
She was
daughter lived
probably
is
toast.
insane.
Yeah.
The mom
She
was
was
still
probably
gurgling and
toast.
kind of breathing deeply. Steve just went at her.
Bro.
Steven, bro.
I was actually kind of scared of him. He just kept hacking at the bed, came over to our side. And
Yeah,
hacked
so
at it.
Steven's definitely just a psycho.
For real.
Like, he came into this not
And
wanting the
then he
money.
went over and kicked the girl a couple times.
Dude.
With his steel toe boots. And then
Dude,
hit
you
her
gotta
in the
watch
head with the
something like
machete. It was
comedic
bad.
after this.
So he
This
said he didn't
Dude.
aim for that.
Yeah.
This is
I was backing
terrible.
off because I knew Steve was
Oh.
losing it. I could tell.
Don't worry,
Yeah,
we're gonna
no
learn all
shit, Steve
about.
was losing-
We're gonna watch something
Steve
very
was losing
light.
it, bro. Steve already lost it.
We're gonna lighten the mood with some My Little
Whoa.
Pony stuff. Don't worry, guys.
And then he turned around
Yeah.
and looked like Jason from Halloween, with the machete in his hand. And I told him, Steve, relax, it's just me, it's Chris. He was breathing hard and relaxing.
He was about to kill him,
Quinn had
too.
the good sense to go
Should've.
turn the breakers back on and the lights went on.
Yeah.
In fact, Quinn couldn't believe the horror before his eyes.
When the mother woke up, she made a comment. She said Jamie hiding or something, you know. Then you covered
that
your
is so
ears and ran.
traumatizing.
I didn't run. I
Walked out of the room, okay? That's because you knew what the purpose was to be there?
I guess I didn't believe it was really happening. I was shocked that people were home. I was shocked that this was actually happening, and I walked down the hallway because I didn't want to face the reality.
The mom was obviously not going to make it.
Dude.
The girl I was pretty sure wasn't going to. She was completely out. There was blood all over the place.
According to Christopher's description of Stephen's behavior, it seems that Stephen was experiencing a rage blackout, which is similar to those that people with anger management issues struggle with.
Jesus
The person
Christ.
often acts very primitively, as was the case with Stephen and how he brutally murdered Kimberly.
Also, how'd they
Christopher's
find out it was them?
actions
Do
are
we know?
calmer and more methodical.
One of the guys went to the station. One of these guys went to the station, like kind of like a self-report kind of thing, and they just kind of were like, "Yeah, shut up."
Evidence of this can go to show many
I think
things,
it was Chris actually that went
among them a sense of self-control and understanding, which negates any sort of non-culpability defense. A court-appointed psychiatrist would be able to interview Christopher and easily determine that he understood the nature of his acts and knew at the time of the crime that they were wrong.
Yeah, no
However,
shit.
he
said
may
that
have
couldn't even
wanted to
believe that he was
portray
doing it.
himself as remaining in control because he believed it made him look stronger compared to Stephen. For someone with antisocial personality disorder, they might see it as very negative to lose control, as they often view themselves as superior to others. Whether he lost it or not, the outcome of their twisted idea of fun was something beyond your worst nightmare. Horrifically so, Kimberly had been struck with the machete in the head and torso 36 times, while her
Oh my
daughter had suffered
gosh.
18 severe wounds, including a punctured lung, a fractured elbow, a cracked skull, and
Dude.
a partially amputated foot.
Oh my
Following the murder,
god.
Quinn had unexpectedly turned the lights back on, forcing them to look at the disturbing scene. However, this may have given them even more of the gratification that they so greatly desired. And although the perpetrators were convinced that their work had been done, they underestimated just how strong that 11-year-old girl
She was
really
11?
was.
W.
Petrified, Jamie lay there on the blood-stained floor while her attackers stole a few pieces of jewelry before fleeing the scene. Pretending that she had succumbed to her injuries, Jamie was able to escape the cruel fate that they had so mercilessly tried to bring upon her. She was able to gather all of her strength and dial
Dude.
911. When someone encounters a threat, they may stop all movement and sound in an attempt to hide from whatever the threat is, also known as the freeze response. The idea is that by drawing as little attention to themselves as possible, they may minimize the danger. In doing so, there's no doubt that Jamie showed an incredible amount of courage, and although it seems we've heard every blood-curdling detail from Christopher, Billy is suddenly rather hesitant to give the full story.
No.
You never go in that master bedroom. No. You never confront these people.
Billy's trying to get off the hook.
Your knife was never used. No. No.
Billy's trying to get off the hook. What do you think? Do you think he's innocent?
Did you ever, I know this is a tough thing for you. Did
Don't
you
think so?
ever see the people?
Look at him.
Looks like a little mole.
Dude, here's the thing. He looks so like unbothered by what's happening. You know what I mean?
Just that whole part.
Billy's answers have been brief, and while not completely avoidant, they have been limited. This could be taken in one of two ways.
I feel like if you're
Either
innocent,
he's
you're in this
guilty and
situation,
trying to
you're
hide his
freaking the fuck
crimes,
out.
even
No?
feeling remorse or
yeah.
disgusted about what
You're
they
never
took part
innocent.
in, or he's a traumatized
I don't
onlooker
care if
who
you're trying
had
to come
no
off as innocent,
idea
bro.
what
You're
was
gonna
going to
freak out.
happen, and whose brain blocked
Because me
out much
personally,
of the
I'm not trying to
memory
spend
as a
life in prison.
protective measure. We know that our brain is capable of protecting itself from traumatizing events in this way, but this is also an awfully convenient excuse that someone can use when trying to avoid openly and honestly retelling the events that occurred. In spite of this, the detective informs Billy that forensic evidence will always prove fact from fiction, so it's in his best interest to be completely transparent. He finally admits to stepping foot in the master bedroom for a short amount of time.
It was pitch black. Okay, and then someone turned the power back on. I don't remember who. I don't remember why. Yeah, but the lights came on, and I saw that. And you saw what? Billy, I know it's tough, guy. I know it's tough. You know, I don't know. Did you see the woman? Yeah. Where was she? Was she alive? I doubt it. I didn't think so. Okay, did you see the little girl? Yeah. Where was she? She was on the floor.
Dude, how can people do that?
I doubt it. I didn't think so. You ever touch any one of them? No. Your knife ever touch any of them? No. Did you lend your knife to anyone that night?
Do they all get life sentences?
I don't think they all get life. But
at least 2 of them probably.
I think he's the only one that won't.
No, he still will.
He probably will.
What? Indicates that he may
he
have
broke
had the intention
in
of using
and-
it.
Like-
On the other hand,
Are you talking
it
life?
possibly helped Billy to feel
Did you get life for that?
tough, so he could build.
it's
Yeah, that's
Texas,
what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Put up the
Oh,
nerve
I
I'm
don't
thinking
know
they're
if
all
he'll
getting
get
life
life.
except for him.
But he breaking and entering.
Oh, no, he's
theft,
definitely
to
getting-
commit the robbery.
at least
He's
those
definitely
two.
getting a
It seems
sentence. I'm just
clear
saying.
that the violence,
I don't think he's going
blood,
for
and
life.
death was too much for him to handle.
Have you guys sat around
Steven and Billy
prior
are
to
definitely getting
Saturday
life.
and talked about doing a burglary? No.
I kind of want to see I want to see the quadruple life sentence. I ain't gonna lie. I kind of want to see it.
Right now, you look at me in the eye and you tell me you've never done a burglary before. Breaking in part, yes. Okay. You ever heard any of those guys talk about killing people? Like kidding around, yeah, but okay.
Well, they say we're not kidding around.
You know, just like normal. No, like,
Oh, it's just normal?
Kill you.
Just
No.
the usual. Yeah.
Just the
Up here in New Hampshire, you know what I'm saying?
All the time. No. Teachers, people like that. But not really like seriousness of actually killing someone.
Manipulative killers will often seek their partners using a certain pattern. As we see here, they'll joke about things like crime and murder to see who's completely repulsed and not a potential accomplice and who will let it slide. Eventually, they'll take it further down the path of dark crime jokes or actions until the other person is complicit in something serious with no way to escape. This may have been the case with Steven, although Billy asserts that there was never an orchestrated plan, and he thought the mutual understanding between the group was that it would be a robbery and nothing more. But later it was revealed that he and Steven had previously scouted Trow Road for a house to
Oh, I didn't know
burglarize,
that.
even telling a friend on Saturday,
Oh, dude, he's
October
done.
3rd.
He's done.
that
Yeah,
Steven
I didn't know
was
that they
planning on
scouted out the
breaking and
place.
entering.
So now
Not
it's
only this,
premeditated. It's a
but
good
Billy had
chance.
been flaunting his assisted opening knife, allegedly stating that he was planning on
Oh, he's
using
fucked
it on
now.
a police
Billy,
officer.
you weren't doing that bad,
or
man.
I
someone
think they go.
doing
else.
that
I think they go quadruple life sentence.
Obviously.
I think they do
So
it.
I wasn't planning on it.
Nah,
Billy
one of
was
them-
doing so
Billy
good,
might get
man.
like 25.
I just wanted to make some quick money. But what were they there for? I thought the same.
I low-key thought Billy genuinely felt bad for what happened.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Well, I didn't know that he scouted out the place
They
beforehand.
abducted somebody, didn't they? I guess so. Did they tell
Probably
you what
the
that plan was if they
most
confronted
innocent, but
somebody?
yeah, he's still getting.
I heard. Well, then yes, I did. But they told me that if there were people in the house, that they would tie them up and use chloroform, or whatever.
That would have been way better.
They think they're James Bond, bro.
Would have been way better than what they did.
That's what I thought would be happening. When did they tell you that? Probably the day or two before, maybe. Not even. So you had discussed a burglary ahead of time. Not that specific.
Supposedly, Steven
Billy,
had even
you're fucked,
requested
man.
that a friend research how to make the dangerous concoction.
He wanted me to look up how to make chloroform. And I was like, alright, whatever. I didn't see it as a big deal because I had known Steve to own copies of the Anarchist and Terrorist Cookbook. Knowing Steve and his history, I took everything I heard with a grain of salt. Because as much as, Steve was like a brother to me, I couldn't really trust anything that Steve said in all actuality, because he'd give these grandiose stories and there'd be no one to corroborate anything he said.
Apparently, the Friday before the attack, Steven had told Autumn that he had a plan in mind for that weekend, but didn't want to divulge any details to his friend. his reason being that he wanted Autumn to stay out of trouble. However, Stephen will involve him soon enough. Despite Stephen and Christopher's alleged plan, Billy asserts that they did not bring the chloroform after all.
Wow.
While the little girl struggled to call the police, the assailants quickly fled on foot back to Christopher's car, where they each had a new pair of clothes to change into.
So
They
smart.
drove Billy back to his vehicle at Walmart.
They'll never get caught
and
if they
later
change their
dropped Quinn
clothes.
off at his house before Stephen and Christopher
These
made their
motherfuckers
way
think
to
this is a
Autumn's
movie,
place
bro.
around 5:30
They
in
think
the
this is
morning.
dead as a movie,
Before leaving
and they're
the
about to
Cade's
ride
house,
off and go to
Stephen
like
had
fucking
allegedly
Canada or
wished to
something. That's
carve
what
the words
I guarantee.
"You're
That's what they thought they were
lucky"
gonna
into
do
the
is go to
neighbor's
Canada.
outside wall,
I guarantee
seeing
it.
as they were almost chosen as the
They
innocent
think it's a fucking
victims.
movie.
Bruh.
This likely indicates that Stephen may have been on a sort of high after murdering Kimberly, feeling like a villain and that he had the power
Dude, how
to
does this keep
spare
getting
the
worse?
people next
For
door.
real.
So yeah, we basically planned that if someone was there, we were gonna kill him.
Did you think that
Bruh.
if somebody was there, if they resisted, you were going to kill them, or it was just...
We were just gonna kill him.
Dude.
Oh
To
my
be honest, I've
God.
wanted to kill someone for a long time. It's like an
What?
urge, and it was kind of a time that I could get it out.
It's very rare for a murderer to make this
Wow.
sort of admission, although it's horrific to
What?
hear and very confusing for the average person
You
to
don't say.
understand
shit.
such a desire. It's this type of information that helps us to understand the mind of someone with severe antisocial personality disorder. They don't value human life the way a
Dude,
typical
if
person
I see this
does.
picture one more time,
And only
I'm
think of
turning
their
this
own
video
needs
off.
and
I
desires,
can't see it
their own
anymore.
urges, as
Listen,
Christopher
I've had this thought since I saw him.
described.
I don't know if
They
it's
often
mean or
know
not,
right
but
from
have you ever
wrong,
seen
as
The Goonies?
Christopher verbalized earlier of how horrific it would
It's
be
been a while.
for
Zach, you
someone
have,
to
right?
harm a woman,
What?
let alone a little
The Goonies,
girl.
you seen it?
But they don't guide
Yeah, yeah.
themselves.
You know the
by
monster?
moral
That's what he looks like.
principles. People with antisocial
Bro,
personality
no.
can often learn to mimic normal human emotion.
Tell me I'm wrong.
But they don't actually feel that emotion.
Tell me I'm
I
wrong.
would feel bad about it. I'm almost sorry to say I don't. I'm not sure why.
So he's actually, so he was
I thought
actually
I
the
would
crazy
just,
one.
like, puke afterwards or something. After looking at her with
Stan.
her forearm open with the bone showing.
When you say her... you
Bro,
mean
shut the fuck up. There ain't no need.
Yeah.
Stabbing the girl as she was saying, "Please don't do this."
Listen,
the mom
there's no
was-
need
Who
for
was saying,
this.
please don't do this?
The girl, the little girl.
Little girl.
And the mom was like, "It'll be okay." I think the mom probably hoped that we weren't
Oh,
going to
John
hurt the
sticks
little
my
girl because
stomach.
she's a little girl.
Oh.
It was kind of cool because it
Bro,
was
it's just
different.
so weird that he just.
What did he just say? It was kind of cool.
Was that wait? I was listening.
No, he didn't.
Go back. There ain't no shot.
That we weren't going to hurt the little girl because she was a little girl. It was kind of cool because it was different.
Yep.
But not really sure if I have the conscience.
Bro, it's crazy to think that there's people like that that their
Christopher
brain
may
is
very
just
well
so
be
digital
enjoying
they
the
just don't
process of
care.
telling the
I can't
story
fathom it.
because
They
he
just
gets
don't
to
care.
relive the
I can never
incident.
understand it.
This may be why
They
he's
just
being
can't, like,
so
process
forthcoming,
emotion at all. That's
providing
wild.
so much detail, even laying out his feelings and thought process. He's giving the detectives
Feelings?
much
So
more
we
than
know,
Where?
they're
we know
asking
two
for.
people are getting
But
life.
it's unlikely that he's doing it to help
For sure.
the detectives because, like he said,
Chris is one of them.
he
That's
doesn't
for damn
care
sure.
or feel bad.
Chris
he isn't
and
sure
and
if he has
Steven
a
are they're done.
conscience.
Well,
Even with
Billy
the
is probably going
possibility
to
of
'cause he
being
helped
locked in prison
premeditatedly,
for
like,
the
plan
rest
the
of
whole
his
thing.
life. He
forget
may
what
be
Quinn
able to
did.
feel some satisfaction thinking back
I haven't
to
heard
the
anything about
memory
Quinn
of the
yet, so I don't
crime.
know anything about
Steve
Quinn.
had mentioned that we weren't going to have time to torture and that we do it
Bro.
some other time.
Steve's
It's
gone.
likely that Stephen was
What?
the more sadistic of the two, although
Wow,
Christopher
huh?
seems to definitely have sadistic tendencies. It seems that Stephen
You think
was more
Stephen's
of
worse
the
than Chris?
savage, violent
Dude,
criminal who
maybe.
plotted
I mean,
the
yeah, he
crimes,
probably
while
is.
Christopher was more of the brains of the operation.
I think
So
Steve
Chris was the
enjoys
serial
the
killer and
infiltrating part of
Steven's
it,
just
the
crazy.
power.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed
I'm
like.
more of a precision sort of guy.
Quinn said he ran out of the room and turned the lights on.
I went in there to
I
kill
don't
him,
really
just
remember
kill him.
like too much about
Steve was
Quinn.
pretty much excited, but it definitely wasn't his first time. It was like, yeah,
What?
it's awesome. You'll get used to it, Chris. It gets addicting, but we'll take
What
care of it.
the-
So Steve's killed
Even
before?
Autumn can recall Stephen's volatile nature.
Steve had always talked about doing shootings and killing people, and said he'd killed a lot of people, and like he had got a lot of respect on the streets.
Who's
or
Autumn?
whatever. And he'd always said he wanted to kill someone to know what it
One of the
felt
one of
like.
like a friend
I
of
never
somebody.
took it as anything
thing?
more than
Okay.
you know the
Friend of Steve's or
ramblings of a troubled kid.
According to Autumn, Stephen had apparently proclaimed at one point, "You have no idea what I'm capable of."
Steve had mentioned in the past that he wanted to kill his mom because there was a lot of animosity between them because she degraded him in his opinion. He was thinking very
You don't agree with me?
seriously
You
and
deserve to
discussing with Chris Gribble about murdering his
Do you think
mother.
they scouted the people inside the house?
They did.
Do you think they know that there was two
This-
girls?
They said they scouted to like rob or whatever, and then they're just like, bah, if anybody's home, we'll kill them.
Yeah.
Dude, because I'm gonna be honest, that's crazy. There's just two girls in there. Like, what are the odds?
That is kind of true.
What are the
Weird
odds that they
coincidence.
don't pull up on like a dude that's just
like
big,
7 foot,
like
280?
What are the odds? They had to have scouted it.
Well, they said they scouted the house, and
Because there's no way this would happen if there was a dude in there. Like, even just an average guy, I feel like.
I mean, Steven, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I don't care how big you
I'm
are.
gonna be honest, Archer. I'm taking all four of them chumps. I swear, on my life,
Listen here.
I'll
Listen,
take all
Steven.
four of them on
Listen,
the spot.
Steven.
No weapon, nothing.
Listen.
They can have a
Listen.
knife, a machete. I don't give a shit.
All right, listen here,
This
Hulk
sort of
Hogan. Chill the fuck
obsession
out,
with
bro.
Murder and enjoyment of the act
My man thinks
itself
he's him.
is common among people
I am.
with
I
severe
don't care.
antisocial
It's just-
personality
Against a
disorder.
machete, bro?
Oftentimes,
What are you
they'll
gonna
commit
do?
murder as a means
Chop
to
your
an
fucking
end,
head off,
such
Steve.
as to obtain
See what happens.
money or to avoid being
When I
caught.
grab
You'll
your
die.
hand,
That's what's going to happen.
And is able
You're
to
joking,
identify
right?
I'm not going down. That's all I'm saying.
Dude comes at you with a machete, you're screwed.
No.
What you gonna do? Put your arm up to block
No.
it? It's gonna go through your arm, dog.
No, I'm chilling.
It's less
I'm chilling. I
Your
got my
arm's
ways.
gone.
He's not gonna get a swing at me. He's not.
Steven's
gonna.
gonna. No,
I'm
that's
gonna
what he's
dodge
gonna do.
the first one, and he's
No,
done
no, no.
after that. He's
as
done.
common.
Nah,
when the
Steven
person
thinks he's an
actually
anime.
takes
He's gonna
pleasure
swing
in
the
act
sword
of
at him and
murder.
bite down with the
For real.
blade and
This is
crush it
often
into pieces and then
evidenced by
sock him in the
weapon that is
mouth.
chosen
That's what's gonna
and
happen.
the manner that the
All I know is I'm going down with one of them fuckers. That's all I know.
You're gonna
That's all I'm
bite the
saying.
blade
was
into pieces
executed.
and then just knock him
For
out.
instance,
Look at that
using a
thing, Steve. What are
machete
you
may
doing?
indicate enjoy-
What happens when I grab it? Huh? What happens when I get it?
It's a.
What
it's a
happens when it's in
machete,
my
bro.
hand?
Grab it when
You
they
go
slice
get
it, you grab it with your hand?
contact with the
Dude.
victim.
Honestly, Steve, if bro, if you go for the legs, you might be able to beat him, bro. No lie.
Indicate that the person
Dude,
simply
Stan
wanted
said
to
it best.
kill
I'm
the
gonna
victim
dex
as
and then
quickly
hit a special 3.
as possible, as it provides
Easy
physical
money.
distance and
Oh,
often
boy.
kills quickly.
And Steve had mentioned before that he's killed multiple people. He
Like,
said this
these
one
guys don't even
wasn't
look
his first
big.
mom and daughter job either. But we were in the driveway.
It's
Yeah, but, like, I
possible
don't
that
even
Stephen
matter,
was
bro. He has a
lying about his
machete.
alleged
I don't
previous
care,
murders
bro.
to impress the group.
If you keep that baseball
However,
bat under
it
your
may
pillow,
have
I'll give you a
also been
chance.
a form
Oh,
of
not a chance,
manipulation.
bro. I batted 700 in Little League, dude. I'm not missing.
He wanted them to feel confident that he'd already gotten away with murder before, so they could trust that
A
he
guy
would
with that
make
kind of
sure
facial
they
hair is
got
not
away
beating
with
me
it
in a
this
fight. I
time,
don't care if he has a
too.
machete.
Although Stephen's
All right,
claims
listen,
have
listen,
been
listen,
confirmed,
listen.
the fact that he
No
would
need to
make
hate on
such
people in the
alarming
facial hair, you know what I'm
claims
saying?
is
No, no, no.
enough to shock
No need to
you
hate.
to your core. After the horrific ordeal, Christopher and Stephen made their way to Autumn's house around 5 in the
17,
morning,
bro.
where the
I'm
young
smashing
man
the shit
seemed
out
to
of
be
that guy.
unaware of
Dude,
what
like,
had
it's
just
so
occurred.
hard.
I was
Like,
looking at him,
this whole time in
and
my
I was
brain,
like,
I've been
"What do
like,
you
they're
want?"
adults.
And he's like, nothing, I'm
Yeah.
Just
I'm
because of what's
Literally-
happened, you know what I
literally
mean?
younger than
I'm
us.
having a massive adrenaline
How old's
rush
Chris?
Right now. I was like,
Chris, one of them's 21, I think. It might be him.
"Why?"
That-
He's
that's
like,
gotta be Chris.
Oh, we
He's
just
gotta
killed
be.
2 people. Like, he said it really
But I'm
nonchalantly.
pretty sure Steven's
And I was,
17.
and being Steve and his stories previously, I was like, yeah, okay.
So he's killed before,
I
and he
didn't
was
believe a word of what
17
he
then.
said.
So I wonder when it
Autumn was
started.
of the
If it did ever
impression
He
start.
that they
claimed
had
that he
committed a
killed before.
robbery
Yeah, that's what I said,
and
if it
not
did
a
ever
murder.
start.
He's probably lying.
However, as the attackers showcased their newfound possessions, he was more than willing to help dispose of the evidence.
Chris grabbed the clothes.
Steven, in my head, I just can't stop imagine you
and
dexing
was
somebody,
carrying
fucking
it,
just trying to swing
and
at you with a sword or
Steve
something.
and I knew the path
Dude, I'd be like, he like just slices my hand off. I'm like, God, I
Just fucking
forgot
flash
to
us
quit my
backwards.
dex
pretty well
mastery.
because that's where we used to go and smoke weed. And so we went down there.
Maybe this Autumn guy was
Steve and
involved
Chris were trying
too.
to decide who was going to throw the
I thought there was only
stuff
4
into
of
the
them.
river. And she's
So
like,
why is he
"Autumn,
getting,
why
like,
don't you just throw it in?" I was
Talk
like,
to. I'm
all
confused.
right.
I don't know.
I was
Did anybody pick that up who this Autumn guy is?
disturbed as to the story which they were telling me. I became very, very nervous because from the detail, it just seemed to be incredibly real.
Hoping to put some distance between them and the murder, they planned to burn the remaining evidence. But Autumn supposedly had the idea of throwing it into the
So he was
Nashua
literally
River
involved?
instead.
This dude's involved
Although,
too.
ironically enough, he would ultimately be the one to lead police directly to it. Although Autumn asserts that he had no previous knowledge of the intended crime,
Wait.
his story seems to
Oh shit.
Did he throw the stuff in the river so he could be like, turn himself in and be like, hey, I even could get you evidence?
Probably.
Because they wanted to burn it, and he goes, no, let's throw it in the river instead.
contain a few holes.
I think he did
I
that
was
just in case
scared
he got wrapped into it. He'd be like,
because-
listen, I know where the shit's at.
As far as I
Let
know,
me
I
go.
was sitting in a room with 2
When he
murderers.
walked in like admitting it, right? Like he was like,
I
"Hey,
don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, so he definitely did that. They were trying to burn it. He goes, "No, let's throw it in the river." He's like, "Hey, police."
I forget how he came into the station. I don't remember.
I make jokes because.
So he was the
it
one that
helps me
turned him
stay
in?
calm.
Maybe.
And I was
Yeah, he
very
probably was this
scared.
guy actually.
Those jokes didn't start occurring
And
until
probably why his face isn't shown.
after Billy had
That also
texted
makes
Steve
sense.
saying
Yeah,
that
that's
the little girl
definitely
had
it.
survived. On Saturday, Steve had looked me in the face and said, "There are only 5 people who know about this. 4 of us who did it, and you.
Oh.
If it comes down to police showing up, we know you ratted.
Shoot.
And
Well, now these
I love
guys
you
better
like a
all-
brother, but I'll fucking kill you.
God.
I will
Oh
kill you
my gosh.
and anyone you care about."
During his interrogation,
I hope they all got
Alden
life
jumped
then.
at the first opportunity to confess.
Dude,
showing
imagine you're
where
sitting there
he,
watching the
Stephen,
news and
and
it says he
Christopher
doesn't
had
have
thrown
life.
a black
Oh
trash
my
bag
God.
with a small
They're like,
jewelry
yeah, he got
box,
off.
an air
Would the police like
conditioner
pay to
screen,
like
rubber
have you like in
gloves,
witness
a
protection and
plastic
shit?
bag
No,
with
I
an
doubt
insurance
it.
card belonging to David
You
Cates,
should get the fuck
a
out of
red
there.
sweatshirt
I feel like
with
you'd have
Stephen's
to go in
name,
there.
socks with Christopher's name,
That's what I'm saying,
and
right?
several
They all
other
got
items
life, I
placed
bet.
inside.
But I'm saying if
Yeah,
they
Dude,
did,
all I know,
if they got out.
all I know is if this was Texas, they're all getting 4 life sentences. That's all I know.
If this is Texas, they're all probably getting distance.
Stephen
But
had also
Honestly,
buried
yeah.
some of the remaining jewelry,
Steven's definitely
the machete,
getting. He's getting lynched.
a knife,
They don't even do
and 2
that,
iPods,
but he's getting it.
one from the Cates home and one from their previous robbery in a wooded area near Christopher's house. But not before they had a chance to show off the terrifying weapons to their friends. Hours after the murder had taken place, Christopher, Stephen, Billy, and another friend, Eldon Spikes,
There's
had all been
another
hanging
one?
out at their regular spot, Walmart, where Stephen had supposedly revealed the tale of horror. He was excited
tell
to
you why I
tell
don't
the
trust
story,
Walmart now.
supposedly stating that he wished he could do it again, although the friends were unsure if Eldon had taken the words into account, considering that he had allegedly been high on numerous drugs. Christopher and
Coulda will.
Stephen then traveled to the Pheasant Lane Mall in Nashua, selling the jewelry for $130
Wow.
at a cash for gold
all of
store,
this shit for
Dude.
one
where they were
murder.
actually stopped by
That's
police
crazy.
for appearing suspicious.
That's
They were
insane.
informed
That's
that
literally like 2
multiple
parlays.
robberies had recently taken place in Brookline and Mont Vernon. But of course, the 2 didn't confess their guilt. As a result, the officer didn't
Sounds
question them any further. But little did he
Cameras.
know, he was staring into the faces of stone-cold killers. Later that day, Christopher and Stephen traveled to their friend Kyle Fenton's
dude, I'm ready
home,
for the sentences.
located in Brookline,
I'm ready
and
for 'em.
brought the machete and knife along with them. There, they proudly revealed their haunting secret, spilling every shocking detail about the murder and parading the
why would you even
weapons
go
as if it
telling
were
people?
show and tell. But
Like,
what the
these people, like,
teenagers managed to
they're crazy.
They're
forget
crazy,
was that
they're
not
trying to
everyone would
flex it.
share in their excitement at the gruesome crime, and some might even report it to the police.
Some.
Fortunately, when Kyle informed his mother of the situation,
What?
she did exactly that. Christopher and Stephen's grandiosity had unsurprisingly backfired. In their excitement, they got too boastful and essentially participated in turning themselves in.
If I were to tell you that Eldon said he was threatened, would that surprise you? No. Do you know Eldon was threatened? I don't know if he was threatened. Did you hear that he had been threatened? No. You don't know anything about that threat? No. Okay. Again, I'm going to ask you, have you heard any more details after the fact? Any of the guys talking about it? They seemed quite amused by it. They seemed amused by it. Who's they? Stevie and Chris. Stevie and Chris. Was Quinlan amused by it? I didn't really see him that much that night.
So
But I
Quinn
didn't
might
talk
be
to
getting
him.
off the
He
hook.
didn't talk to me. He didn't really talk much.
What did they say that made you thought they were amused?
When get off the hook?
About it. They seemed not really care.
So initially you said it was just small chatter, but
Well, this was, yeah. After, in the house, they didn't really talk much. But afterwards, they said that, I guess it was, they said pretty much it was like, it was fun. It was fun.
who said it was fun?
However, the disturbing jokes were not shared by everyone, as Quinn was in disbelief at the gruesome attack.
Chris was just saying that he was happy he got the kid, and we had a little bit of an argument over that, just over the ethics of it.
Who had the argument, you and Chris?
Me and Chris. It wasn't a
Okay.
heated argument, but he said he was happy that he got the kid,
Dude.
and I said, No, not women and children.
Quinn goes on to chillingly state that Stephen wanted to get Chris into killing by committing such an act. Unfortunately, the disturbing plan seemed to have worked.
Stevie and Chris were just going back and forth about just having a rush.
Did they say anything more specifically about what they had done?
It was halfway down the dirt road. That's when Chris said he was happy he got the girl. Stevie was making the machete joke.
I'm sorry, what was the machete joke?
He was making a joke about, she woke up to get hacked to death by a machete. Chris and Stevie were
Dude, that is so
very
psychotic.
Jovial. In
Oh
a
my
rush.
god, that is so
I
psychotic.
was agreeing, going along with it because I was just in a house and one of my friends and a new acquaintance just killed people, and I wasn't about to disagree with
So
anything.
you guys think he gets
Billy
off?
said something about
He probably does, right?
being put in the newspaper, and Stevie said something. He said, yeah, we're going to be in the paper, but not us.
According to Quinn, Billy had wanted to be in the newspaper ever since he was a child, and given his crime, it seemed that it didn't matter how. Sunday night, the four
So I think
criminals,
Quinn gets
along
off.
with Eldon, had
Sorry
been
about it.
visiting at Quinn's house when the hangout suddenly turned volatile. Stephen, worried about Eldon's knowledge of the homicide, wished to dispose of the loose end. Unsurprisingly, Christopher was on board to commit yet another murder. But thankfully, Quinn stepped between the three and pleaded for Eldon's life. He assured his accomplices that not a word would be spoken of the incident, ultimately ending the confrontation.
He'll get time, but he actually might get off. He might not get that much time.
It was either one of Steve's friends or it was like Billy's sister or something like that. One of his friend's sisters goes to school, the same place that the little girl.
I just realized this was like 15
And
years
so
ago,
it's all
too.
around school.
It's been a while.
So we got on the online telegraph thing on Autumn's computer.
Yep.
And looked at it and found out the girl had survived.
Ooh.
There wasn't a lot on there, but they gave me a really hard time. They were like, wow, Chris, you couldn't even kill a 10-year-old.
Oh my
Give me a
god.
real hard time.
Gosh.
Dude.
Who's they? Steve and Autumn.
Mm-hmm.
Steve was like, at least I killed my...
Christopher says this almost as if he
Are
wants the
you
investigators to feel
serious?
bad for him, rather than focusing on the fact that they just murdered a mother and brutally assaulted her child. Presenting Stephen in this way may be helpful to Christopher's case,
Dude.
although Stephen may or may
I hope
not have
Steve
said
got death
this.
penalty. I really do.
It's in Christopher's best interest to display Stephen as the more
Ugh.
unempathetic and violent criminal. That way, Christopher believes he looks like a bit of a victim compared to his monster of a friend. On top of this, the other three apparently referred to Christopher as a murder virgin, as he was unable to complete the thrill kill.
I'm kind of surprised she's alive. I'm not sure. I kind of wish she died for her sake. Just because she's going to have to live with all that.
Yeah,
And
dude.
left
Oh.
If I'm going to kill
Oh,
someone,
that's
I'm going to
so
actually do
traumatic.
it so that they don't have to sit and live with a bunch of trauma. I've been through so much trauma. I don't want someone to go through that.
Yeah, okay.
So if I can just end it for them, I would.
This bizarre claim may all be a front.
Dude.
Christopher may feel a sense of failure because Jamie lived.
Yikes.
He doesn't want to be viewed as weak, so he suggests that he's only disappointed for her sake when in actuality, it likely has everything to do with him and nothing to do with her. At the same time, Christopher is once again presenting himself as a victim. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. Following the chilling confessions, Billy had supposedly discussed with his dad the idea of selling his story to various media outlets. Another indication of how heartless he was.
Oh, yeah,
In
he's
the
done.
end, Billy
He's
and
done.
Quinn were given plea deals for testifying against Christopher and Stephen.
Oh, okay.
Billy pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder, burglary, and first-degree assault, and sentenced to 30 to 60 years behind bars.
That's pretty accurate. What do you think? You think he had to get less, right? I'm going to guess 15 to 20.
In comparison, Quinn pleaded guilty to burglary, robbery, and conspiracy to commit burglary, receiving a sentence of 20 to
Oh
40
my
years.
God.
Autumn was eventually sentenced
I'll
to a
give it
minimum
live.
of
2 hours.
5 years for hindering apprehension and
We're going to watch one more small video after this.
conspiracy to hinder
How you doing, though, Jeremy?
apprehension. In an unsuccessful attempt to avoid a first-degree murder charge,
Oh, dude.
Christopher pleaded not guilty
They're
by
all
reason
done.
of insanity.
Life. There's no
The
way they
idea
don't get
he'd
life.
been insane was
See you
quickly
later.
denied by the court psychiatrist, stating that he was well aware of his behavior
was.
and actively chose to commit such a horrendous crime. During his trial, Stephen appeared to not take the proceedings seriously when he made a shocking and unusual request to his attorney.
No shot.
I think he said no.
There are a few different reasons behind
Dude, put me in a room with
this
that man.
kind of behavior. One possibility
Put me in a room
is
with
that
that man right
Stephen
there.
could be trying to manipulate the situation and gain sympathy from the jury. By reminding them that it's his birthday, he might hope that the jury will feel more inclined to be lenient in their sentencing or view him as more human and relatable. Another possibility
Had a girlfriend over for dinner and had to do the whole... Oh, the promposal? Okay. Man, got a prom date? She said yes, right, Jeremy? Of course she said yes, bro. You're a stud.
is that he is simply trying to exert control over the situation. By asking about his birthday and the possibility of the jury singing, he's taking
Stan,
an
I
active
second
role
that,
in
bro.
the proceedings and potentially even trying to dictate the mood or tone of the courtroom. It's also possible that he's simply trying to assert some kind of dominance and show that he is unfazed by the gravity of the situation. Regardless of the specific motivation, it's clear that this kind of behavior is concerning and indicative of a serious lack of empathy or remorse, and shows that he's completely out of touch with the situation and why he's sitting there in the first place. In contrast, Christopher allegedly stated that if given the chance, nothing could prevent him from killing again. Both Stephen and Christopher were eventually convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Although in 2012, the United States Supreme Court ruled against sentencing minors to life without receiving any chance of parole. But shockingly, Stephen filed a motion not to appeal his conviction, and the New Hampshire Supreme Court granted it. Stephen's rationale behind the decision being that he is the most sick and twisted person you'll ever meet and should never be given a second chance.
Facts.
We reached out to speak with Stephen, but he declined to comment on the case. William Marks and Quinn Glover, who stood by and did absolutely nothing while Kimberly and Jamie were attacked, are likely to be paroled in the coming years. Quinn was granted parole on his robbery charge and will likely be released in 2029.
What did this guy do? You seem traumatized? Oh, Jeremy, this one's pretty bad, dude. Basically, these four dudes broke into a woman's house and was trying to rob, I guess, like steal some stuff. But they were sleeping in their bed, and they woke up during it. And Steve, that weird dude, absolutely just murdered the mom in her sleep, like waking up, just murdered her. And then they beat the girl to a pulp, like severed her foot and stuff. But the girl actually lived and called the cops and stuff. And yeah, that's how they got caught.
Will be eligible for parole in 2024. Autumn Savoy was already released on parole in 2015.
Dude, that's actually insane. That's actually insane.
My Little Pony.
All right, we got a 20-minute video and then we're done.
That was terrible.
Let's see, where's that?
Oh, Cubs. They cover the spread. Hallelujah.
What'd you say?
The Cubs covered the spread. I won something today.
That's pretty much what I'm trying to hope for right now.
Next one of us.
If the Diamondbacks manage to cover the spread, which is not looking good, then I'll be really good for the day.
Copy. That's definitely not it.
I'll be perfectly honest, I wanted to kill someone for a long time. It's like...
It's not it either. Go. Copy link. There you go.
Marion County 911.
Give me 1 second. Let me put this poll up and then we'll watch. Hope to get messed up in prison? Yeah, for sure, honestly.
They probably can't because they're probably like fucking solitary considering they're that crazy. Or in some kind of own ward with other people that are crazier. Is that how that works, Zach?
Hmm?
Is that how that works? Like people crazy like Steven and them, don't they get their own like ward pretty much in prison? Or am I stupid?
I don't think so.
I think they do. But I could be mistaken. I think they have like classes of like murders. And they put them in the different wards depending on, like, I guess the severity of it, I guess is the word.
I thought it was like
I could be
based on the
completely
behavior
wrong.
or whatever. Whether you get solitary or not, I don't really know.
No, I understand that, but like that's for like normal people. Like those people, like Steven, he's gonna kill somebody no matter what.
That's true.
Like, it's gonna happen. So I didn't know if they would like, I don't know, give them their own ward or
Hey, you ever
whatnot.
play Darkest Dungeon?
No, but I'm playing Binding of Isaac right now.
Oh, that game's so good. I have 1.5 million hours in that game.
But what game are you talking about?
You just said Binding of Isaac, right?
Yeah, but you said some Darkness, right?
Oh, Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
Oh, it's a great game.
What is it on?
Everything. The second one actually comes out next month. It's on. I know it's on Game Pass though.
Darkest Dungeon? The fuck is it?
It's a difficult game, but
Oh, it's a roguelike. So
Yeah.
it's like Hades.
No, it's like turn-based combat. You have like different.
So should I buy this or should I wait for the new one to come out?
I mean, the new one comes out, but if you have Game Pass, it's on that.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go download it.
Is anybody experiencing flu like
This is called The Mass Killer Who Murdered 8 for a My Little Pony character. No shot. There's no way this guy.
All right.
No, somebody's shooting in my hub. I'm at FedEx in Plainsville.
What's the
And there's gunshots everywhere.
Okay,
Please hurry.
what is the address?
The address is 8951 Mirabelle Road.
How many shots did you hear?
I don't know if anybody got shot. Can we go out down here? Can we run on the way to the end and go out?
Don't go outside. Stay where you're safe.
8951 Mirabelle Road.
I want you to stay with me, okay? Don't hang up, okay?
Shut that door!
When a young boy's mother notices his odd behaviors,
No way.
intensifying year by year,
Okay, I thought it was
she
like
begins
he was
to
literally that
worry
old.
about him. It began as a child when young Brandon Hole insisted on wearing 3 pairs of shorts at a time. That
Totally
seemed
normal.
innocuous enough until
That looks
years
like you.
later, when he
Shut
developed
up.
an unusual obsession that soon went off the rails. This was the bedroom
Uh-oh.
of that same boy. Only now he was well into his teenage years, and his true love is
Dude.
depicted on the colorful posters hanging on these walls.
Dude.
The cartoon ponies you see are the central characters on a children's animated television series, My Little Pony. Most people
Dude,
would
no
do anything
way.
for the love of their life, but few knew just how far Brandon was willing to go for his. And the ones that did know would soon wonder how they didn't see the horrific outcome staring them right in the face.
Hello?
Hi, can I speak with Brandon, please?
Indiana.
Oh yeah, this is Brandon.
Brandon Hole was no stranger to tragedy. In this phone call with police, you'll quickly learn how his demons began to develop at such an early age. His mother, Sheila, estimates he was
Also, he
only
actually
4 years
talks.
old as she describes the dramatic incident you're about to hear.
Dog, I'm in Indiana. I'll stand here in Indiana, bro. I'm gonna have to make a trip.
I mean, he'd like be real depressed one day and be like, I ought to just do what my dad did.
How did his dad kill himself?
So,
Oof.
Did he find him or did he see that?
no, he was there when we got into a real bad argument, and his dad said that, hey, whatever, if you leave with the kids, I'm going to keep myself, and I said, go ahead. He was, I think, 4 then.
It seemed this haunting memory would follow Brandon everywhere he went for the rest of his life. Before long, Sheila would see his struggles start to manifest in unusual behaviors, including his insistence on wearing 3 pairs of shorts at
Dude,
a time.
all of these documentaries just show you how important like parents are.
The way he would rock back and forth as he watched television, and how if his routine tasks
I feel like
were
it all starts with the
interrupted,
parents.
the whole sequence would begin again. He was eventually diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive
Yeah, I was gonna
disorder.
say.
Sensing something was off, Sheila took her troubled son to Barrington Health Center in Indianapolis. But there she would learn there was more going on than she ever knew. The first visit in 2011, when Brandon was 9, would prove to be his first of many. But with every visit, the outcomes grew worse and worse. And ultimately, it all culminated in some of the most terrorizing moments ever caught on camera.
Oh, shit.
Less than a year after being diagnosed with a bevy of disorders, including disruptive behavior disorder, anxiety, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and depression, Brandon's behaviors would soon become much more aggressive. Thanks to his ever-increasing temper, his mother took him back for another visit 1 year later. As it turned out, his mother's fears were no exaggeration, and the medical records are damning evidence that prove it. From excessive lying to disrespectful behavior, Brandon's temper was now only part of a growing list of concerns. But for Brandon, it was just the beginning. It's May of 2013. Brandon is 11. A police officer was dispatched to the home Sheila and Brandon shared with Sheila's boyfriend, Keith Larson. According to Keith, he and Brandon were engaged in a water fight, and when Keith sprayed him with the garden hose, Brandon flew into an unexpected rage. He'd locked himself in the bathroom where he proceeded to destroy items inside. Sheila alleged that she picked the lock, after which Brandon left the bathroom.
Dude, you know Keith just turned on jet mode, bro, and it was just game over.
And Sheila became his target. That's when Brandon snapped. He punched and slapped Sheila in the face multiple times, kicked her in the legs, and bit her on the forearm. She followed as he ran for the kitchen and grabbed 2 table knives out of a drawer. Then, in a mad scramble, charged at his own mother. He trapped her in the family room and wouldn't allow her to leave. It seemed like something unthinkable was about to happen. But just when she thought there was no escape, police arrived in the nick of time, and the madness for now came to an end. Somehow, Sheila
I would
only
never be able
sustained
to
a
sleep
small
in the same
wound to
house
her
with that
right
child.
Dude,
forearm.
no shot.
But her fears about her son's behavior leading up to this point had been all but confirmed. The incident ended in Brandon receiving several months of probation. After that incident
He was
with his
11?
mother, everything continued in the same direction, and every year, Brandon would ascend another step on that stairway to madness. He quit school in 2014 and never got
when he
beyond the
was
6th
14.
grade level.
Oh my
He stayed
gosh.
home, his depression
Dude,
ever
respect the little bicep curls that he's about to be doing over there. That's
present
respect. I need
and
that.
isolated from the world, worsening
Trying to
his
get them games.
condition. It seemed to manifest in his chilling search history. You've already learned about his
So he's like
obsession with
14?
My Little Pony, but while left alone, Brandon had been researching something far more sinister.
Oh, jeez.
In 2015, Brandon was assessed by the Riley Children's Foundation. His search history included an obsessive interest in mass shootings. He told the assessor that, quote, "I feel bad for the victims, the families." When asked if he could put himself in the shoes of the perpetrators, he denied it, saying, "I don't want to waste my time doing something like that. It's a hassle," and that he wouldn't want to cause families any trauma. Chillingly, the assessor concluded that Brandon seemed to empathize with the victims, despite the fact that he also admitted to sharing memes and jokes about them with his friends.
He had friends?
Then the day came when 18-year-old Brandon made the decision to follow through with something he'd planned to do for quite some time. It was March 2nd, 2020.
And he was like, well, drive me to the gun store and I'll just look around. On the way to the gun store, we saw a sticker that said hashtag stop the life. And he's like, there's your sign. And I was like, okay, well, if you buy a gun, there's your sign. You know, I got to take that away from you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and he did buy it without bullets.
The store was out of ammunition that day.
gosh.
That night, Sheila and her daughter devised a plan. The situation was far too perilous, and they couldn't just sit back and watch to
Zach,
see
this
what
game's
became
trash.
of it. They had to act.
game?
If not,
This
Sheila
cutscene, I can't
feared
skip it, and I've
perhaps
been here for
Brandon
5
would
15
follow
minutes.
through and take his own life,
And I can't hear
just
anything.
as his father had
So
done
if you're answering
several
me, I can't hear
years
you.
prior. Or something much, much worse. The following morning, they traveled to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department and filed a case report telling of his troubled past and how he planned to point his shotgun at police, thereby ensuring
my
his
ears are back.
death. Later that same day, on March 3rd, several officers and members of the Indianapolis Mobile Crisis Assistance Team, or MCAT, responded to Sheila's home.
Dang, this is 2020.
Upon
This is only
entering,
like 3
Brandon
years
was
ago.
placed in
Yeah,
handcuffs,
I saw
with
that
the
a second
police
ago.
report stating that Brandon had become quite anxious, and his main focus was ensuring that no one looked at his computer. What police would find on that computer would leave Sheila utterly shocked, with the search revealing extremist websites in his history. At this time, Brandon's gun was confiscated under Indiana's red
Dude,
flag law.
there's no way this kid doesn't just get locked up right here. Like, there's so much shit.
When Brandon was taken to Eskenazi Hospital for further assessment, she hoped he'd be put on a 72-hour hold. But instead, somehow, he was in and out in under 2 hours. To Sheila's utter surprise, an emergency medicine doctor determined there was no diagnosis, and Brandon denied having any issues. What's more shocking, there's no record that indicates a formal psychological assessment was ever conducted on Brandon during this visit, despite Sheila's cries for help.
That's nuts.
A few days after the visit to Eskenazi Hospital, a detective contacted Sheila concerning his confiscated shotgun.
I just needed to talk to you about what happened with Brandon. My role in this is simply just to see if we're going to file a retention case. If they file a retention case, he would also be deemed to be a dangerous person, which only means that he wouldn't be able to purchase a firearm. This isn't a criminal record, and it's not, you can't even see it. Like, if somebody were to search for criminal cases and stuff, these cases don't go into there because they're just civil. Once they get filed, like if I needed to check on one, I can't even do it. I have to send an email to the prosecutor's office and ask them to look because they're the only ones that can access it, so to see like what the status of it is.
Then, when the FBI visited with Sheila the following month, they would unknowingly add fuel to the fire. An agent, along with another officer, visited Sheila's home and asked to meet with Brandon. When the agent asked Brandon what he planned to do with his life, Brandon replied that perhaps he could join the FBI. In response, the agent made it clear that wouldn't be an option for him. Perhaps this was the straw that broke the camel's back. It would be exactly 1 year to this very day that Brandon would unleash the inner demons he'd been harboring since early childhood. At the conclusion of the meeting, all intelligence that had been gathered on Brandon revealed the last thing Sheila or any mother would ever want to hear about their own son. Brandon had all the makings of a mass shooter. Some of the red flags...
So you're telling me they know all this stuff, and he still murdered 8 people?
The FBI may have recognized in Brandon were that he was a loner with feelings of rejection from society, as well as feeling like he was being treated unfairly, and his belief that he was a victim. Other red flags that Brandon showed were his symptoms of depression, homicidal thoughts, violent fantasies, and anger problems. In conjunction with the other warning signs were his traits of narcissism, and most concerning of all, his fixation on past school shootings and mass murderers. Despite the exchange with the FBI agent, Brandon for a time seemed to be on the up and up. He found a job in 2020, and he seemed to enjoy working at the local FedEx SmartPost facility. Maybe this was the new beginning Sheila had hoped for after all those arduous years. Maybe Brandon
Notice that was the address that girl was talking about in the 911, so that's definitely where he was shooting.
Was finally improving. But it wasn't the case, and in
fact,
he was only just ascending into peak madness. In the months before he would do the unthinkable, Brandon quit showing up for work. It seemed he couldn't bring himself to get out of bed. By October, his stint at the FedEx facility had officially come to an end. It was mid-March of 2021, and Brandon had moved back to his mother's home. Once again, Sheila had to fight the system in order to get her son in front of a mental health professional before he was finally assessed. Multiple pages of notes named a variety of Brandon's conditions, amongst them generalized anxiety disorder, recurrent major depressive disorder. Meanwhile, even while he was in therapy, this is an actual list of the items he was purchasing. As he was making these purchases, he attended another session with a social worker. But by now, Brandon had reached the point of no return. The following day, he attended a session with a different social worker, stating he had no empathy and no care for the lives of others, including his own flesh and blood. 2 weeks later, in what would be his final counseling session, he stated the same thing again. But what he added this time was chilling. Brandon claimed he was a danger to society and that society should fear him. And he was right.
Marion County 911.
There's been a shooting.
Okay.
Multiple shots.
How many shots were fired?
A lot.
It started the night Brandon quietly departed home, never to return again, en route to his final destination, the FedEx SmartPost facility, sometime around 11 p.m. on April 15th, 2021. That particular evening was nothing out of the ordinary. Sheila returned home from work with dinner for Brandon and found him to be in a pleasant mood. After he ate, He took a relaxing bath, then they both went to bed. Or so Sheila thought. Once inside the FedEx SmartPost facility, Brandon makes his way through, savagely opening fire on everyone.
Why did I never
in his
hear about
path.
this?
Then he moves through
Like
the
I should have
lobby,
heard about this.
assassinating employees at random as they attempt to run for their lives. Soon after, he returns to the parking lot and immediately opens fire on those unfortunate enough to be in close proximity. 911 calls flood local dispatchers as Brandon continues his murderous undertaking.
I think there's possibly multiple shooters. I hear them outside. I'm in the control
How
room.
did I never hear about this?
Listen here.
Okay, so what I need for you guys to do, like I said, stay down, make sure your door is locked. Put something against that door if you can to keep yourself safe, okay?
Please. There's someone upstairs.
Okay, they're on the way, they're on the way.
In a matter of minutes, the premises transformed into a nightmare.
There's somebody out in the parking lot with a rifle shooting. We got the guy in here. We got him in here. He's been shot. Okay. He's in our shack with us.
Hey, stay on the line for me. Let me get medics on the phone. I'm not going to hang
Yeah,
up,
Stan,
okay?
how did you never hear about this? You live in Indiana.
Just stay with me.
There is at least one person down. Send an ambulance or two, please.
Yeah, we have the ambulance and the officers en route.
But they have an AR-15. I'm not sure how many other guns they have, but I know they at least have one assault rifle.
They're still shooting.
Okay, okay, stay on the line. They're already on the way to you, okay? But stay on the line with me. Keep yourself safe. I need you to let me know anything that happens, okay?
Dude, everybody was
I just hear a lot
calling.
of gunshots and a lot of people around.
Okay, hold on. Stay on the line.
The emergency calls continue to pour in as the casualties are mounting. Dispatchers frantically assist callers as the horror continues to unfold.
We have shots fired. We need police. They're still shooting as we speak. He's already shot about 5 people, the shooters in the building.
You said there were 5 people shot there? Or he got...
The first officers are arriving at the scene. Dispatchers and responding officers communicate in real time. However, in the midst of the chaos, details are not yet clear.
Have we confirmed whether we have 1 or 2 shooters?
Reports are saying 2 shooters. Okay, is it 1 person, 2 person?
Can't tell if just multiple rifle shots, but it sounds like the same report, so I'm assuming 1.
Okay, are they inside or outside?
Last they were outside.
Okay.
I'm getting information that he is still inside the building from somebody pulling off the lot.
Footage reveals that after carrying out his plan, Brandon returned to an earlier location in the FedEx facility. Without so much as a shred of hesitation, he then proceeded to end one more life, his own. Employees on
Dude,
site continue to
I
place
hate people,
calls,
bro.
begging and pleading for help in this surreal nightmare that has been sprung upon them without warning. As far as they are aware, the shooter is still preying on victims.
Is there someplace you can get safe?
Why have I never heard about this?
I don't know because I still hear gunshots and they're inside the building.
Is there someplace you can hide? Is there a desk, something you can get under?
Dude, tomorrow's stream we gotta watch we need some funny videos.
I'm at door 235. There is a trailer on this door. Get under. Slide under that.
Someplace where you
Slide
can
under,
stay safe,
please.
okay? Really well, okay? Stay with me, okay?
As Natasha and another employee remain hidden, well over 100 officers are dispatched to the scene.
2 more down, car in parking lot, white Toyota Camry.
Another one down by the Silver Explorer, front row. Control, advise Eskenazi will have multiple patients. Advise them to be ready.
I'm outside the lobby. I had to get all the people out. He couldn't get through the turnstiles, but he was sticking the gun through. So when he went out to the parking lot, I rushed everybody back through our second set of turnstiles and sent them in the trucks.
Is there a certain entrance number or door that we can note here in the run so they know where to get to you? And how many people are with you?
I can get the cops through. Uh-oh, somebody's at the door out there. Is that a police officer or is it him again? It's a police officer. It's a police officer. Yes.
Judy encounters the officers as they make their way through the building
Yeah,
to
that's
secure
really
the
sad.
scene. Dispatchers check in with callers who have remained on the lines.
Dude, this is still so clickbait, right? Unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for the My Little Pony part.
Murdered for a My Little Pony character. Like, that is so
The
clickbait.
officers know where you are, okay? I've put that in there, okay? Do you want to stay on the line with me until you get
please
there?
don't leave me.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not going to leave you. I will not leave you then, okay? I'm going to stay with you then, okay? You're fine, okay? That's perfectly fine.
After more than 30 minutes with the dispatcher, Natasha's wait is over.
Help! 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 I'm under.
Allegedly, because of the facility's policy that employees couldn't carry cell phones in certain areas, some workers may not have been able to phone for help or contact friends and family during the shooting.
Bro, what the?
The killing spree
No
had
cell
come to an
zone.
end, but the aftermath of the attack is difficult to fathom.
I was gonna get sued for that.
Oh my God, he got Osco, and Osco's only been here a week. They're
Oh,
dead out here.
dude.
8 innocent, unwitting
Oh,
victims'
that's
lives
really
ended
sad.
abruptly.
Yikes.
Soon, Brandon is located by officers as they confirm that he is now deceased. It was then that Brandon's disturbing motive
No
was
way.
revealed.
It wasn't
No, it's
clickbait?
not bait.
No.
Brandon
What
was
does that say? What does that
heartbroken
say?
over a
Hope that I can be with Applejack in the afterlife. My life has no meaning without her.
Dude.
If there's no afterlife and she isn't at the
No
end of my...
shot.
I don't know, something about Applejack.
If she isn't
She's real, then my life never mattered anyway.
My Little
No.
Pony character. In his final Facebook post on April 15th, 2021, he wrote, I hope that I can be with Applejack in the afterlife. My life has no meaning without her. If there's no afterlife and she isn't real, then my life never mattered anyway.
Are you
But I kind of just need to talk to you about what happened that day and how you're feeling about whether you'd want it back or if you.
Oh, so sorry to interrupt, but I don't want it back at all. It's fine.
What would be your goal for us to do with the gun?
Just destroy it, or
Okay.
well, yeah, I'd say that. Because I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about getting my life back on track. I don't have any mental health issues that I'm aware of. I don't think I do. And I wouldn't say depressed, but my feelings to the reason why I got a gun is because I wanted to show my best friend who's really into hunting and stuff. Mainly, and also for like the fun of shooting it.
I mean, if you're getting it back on track, I don't know what it's off track of it unless it's just that you didn't get your high school diploma.
I mean, yeah, off track. I mean, it's that. I mean, I'd say that. I mean, do you think this, like, not doing anything with your life is on track? I mean, I don't think
Well, no, but I also think that could make me sad and depressed if I felt like a failure or whatever, but apparently that's not what you're feeling, so.
I just signed up for GED. I'm going to get my GED. I'm going to counseling or therapy, or I'm not really sure what the correct term is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to get my life back on track, and I'm really trying hard.
The FBI concluded Brandon's purpose was to demonstrate his masculinity and capability while fulfilling a final desire to experience killing people. It was a moment in time that further reinforced the importance of not only recognizing red flags, but acting upon them too. Those 8 lives that were lost that day ranged in age from 19
Oh my
years
God.
to 74
No,
years.
tomorrow I need some comedy
and
videos
included
in my
Matthew
Discord.
Alexander, Samaria Blackwell, Amarjeet Johal, Jasvinder Kaur, Jaswinder Singh, Amarjeet Sekhan, Carly Smith, and John Weissert. Brandon's mother wants her son to know that when she cries these days, it's not for him, it's for the victims.
Dude,
if she could talk to him today, she'd
imagine
say,
being the mother.
I grieve those people more than I ever will you.
Oh, that makes me sick just thinking about being the mother. Ugh. Ugh. Get this out of here. I can't watch this anymore.
Dude, you gotta switch to something else. I mean,
Tomorrow we gotta have some. I
Is
didn't
that what
expect
I
those to be
want
that
to pro for?
bad. Yeah, find me some.
Yeah, those are probably 2 of the worst ones, to be honest.
Those are 2 of the darkest ones I think I've ever seen. I mean, yesterday was bad though. Yesterday we just got clickbaited. And I
You
thought we got
know who
clickbaited.
Michael Reeves is by any chance?
No.
Alright, bet.
Just flood my Discord with some videos. Well, I'm probably gonna hop off here. So.
Alrighty, you have a good one, mate.
I'll be streaming tomorrow.
Alright, I'll be on after class.
Alright, I'll see you.
Sure.
Well, fellas, that was a very. I apologize for the, it's a very dark stream, I guess, but it's the life of the crime documentaries, Oh yeah, the buttons. The buttons is a pretty good. It's a pretty good show on YouTube or whatever. Yeah, dude, I probably will do some of those. Those are pretty funny. We'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow is complete comedy stream. Okay. We're gonna be reacting to straight comedy. But yeah, Stan, Jeremy, at me, whoever else here. Appreciate you guys watching the absolute just horrid videos we just watched. But yeah, I'm gonna head off here, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow.